There we go. That should work. And then we need to turn Steve's gain up just a little bit. So on his, he might be at like a 4. I think he needs to be probably
I can up if you want. Gainey's gain?
Gainey's
yeah,
gain.
Gainey's gain. What's it at now? Say something.
It sounds like we're on something there.
That's good. Okay, perfect.
I mean.
Whoa, too loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for whatever you need.
That's good. Right there.
Okay.
Good. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Just tell me what volume they speak at.
Gainey's gain kind of has a little ring to
Does
it.
Yeah. Gainey's gamey. Gamey Gainies.
I
Anyway,
hate
welcome.
my last name.
You're muted, but we can still hear you speak.
Yes.
Yeah. So, welcome to the Permanent Mark Podcast, episode number 2. Today we have a very good friend of the show. His name is Steve. Steve is a firefighter, a leader, mentor, a father, and a very young man, Papa.
Very young.
Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Good. We're super excited to have you. So, today we'll talk a little bit about Steve and what he's done in his life and the things that he wants to accomplish as he kind of moves forward through this crazy, crazy world that we have. So, Mark, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good.
What's new with you? What's new with you?
I'm just getting ready for my oldest daughter to get ready to get her license soon.
License.
Kind of been thinking a lot about that lately.
License to drive you nuts, or?
Oh, that's already been issued.
Well, good. So Steve,
Yes.
buddy, pal, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited.
Are you?
I am.
You got a little table over here.
Oh, yeah. You guys got it.
That's good. So, Steve, why don't we talk a little bit about kind of what you've been up to for the last, 25 plus years of your life? That's what we're going to talk about today.
It's been a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, man, it's a lot. So, so you and I, obviously, we're friends. We've talked a few times. I know for the last 15 years or so, you've been a super involved public servant working for the fire department, right? But that looks like maybe it's coming to the end of the line here pretty soon, yeah?
I hate endings,
Okay.
I like transitions.
Oh, a transition. Okay.
Yeah, I hate...
It's the right kind of transition.
Yeah. I hate... I just, ending is like so final. But I'm like the forever optimist.
Yeah.
So I just want to transition to something else later on,
Good. So let's talk first a little bit about your time in the fire department and kind of, what led you up to doing that, because, there's a certain person that's called to those kinds of, duty, whether or not it's a police officer or our military members or firefighters or anything like that. You guys literally, as nobody says it all the time, but you're literally running into the fire. So when in your life did you decide that was going to be kind of your path that you've been on the last 15 years, and what was your, stepping off point for that?
Okay, so I would have to say...
I want all the deets. I want to go all the way back.
Okay, so let's go back to 1997. And first of all, I got to tell you, I was thinking about your podcast, the Permanent Mark, and I love the name of your podcast because, everything that you do in life, no matter... Every interaction leaves a permanent mark on you, And there's certain events that leave, a deeper scar or whatever.
Sure.
And, timing is perfect because my sister was at a concert, and there was a song... by a 90s band, Sawyer Brown, This Night Won't Last Forever.
Uh-huh.
And actually, my journey started when that song was popular. It was in 1997.
Okay.
I was in a really bad accident.
Okay. What happened?
My sister, her best friend, and myself decided we were going to go. I was 17 in high school, and we went to the grocery store. Mm-hmm. On our way back, we got in a really bad accident on San Miguel Road.
For you guys that don't know where we live, San Miguel is a semi-popular pass-through, and even in the mid-90s or late 90s, the traffic wasn't like it is today here in Florida, which is
even
crazy.
Worse now.
Oh, it's more than anybody else. But yeah, okay. So San Miguel, somebody they T-bone you, or you flip over the car?
She made a left-hand turn in front of me, and I was probably going 40, 45, but it was raining.
Yeah,
and even though it's a 30-mile-an-hour zone, 40 is the minimum you do on that road.
Right.
Even at 97.
Yeah.
So I ended up being, I was pretty messed up. Broke my neck. I was in a coma for a little while.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, that was
So like you're like what, like the upper part, lower part, which part of your neck?
C6, and I broke in it. I ended up actually breaking C5, C6, T3, T4, all vertebrae.
Jesus.
The truck rolled over. I was driving. None of us were wearing seatbelts. It was 97. Like,
Yeah.
It was not a thing back then for whatever reason.
Yeah.
We should have been. Well, actually,
maybe.
it would have killed me. But
Okay. Interesting.
oh yeah, I can't find any pictures of the truck, but
Yeah.
it was pretty bad.
What kind of truck was it?
Ford Ranger.
A fucking
Oh
Ford Ranger.
boy.
A fucking Ford Ranger.
Yeah.
A newer one. I guess 97. They would have still just been coming out, right?
Well, it was an 85, 86, 85. 80,
Oh.
I've had a lot of vehicles.
That's no airbags in those things.
Oh, nothing. Nope.
Yeah, just like a steel steering wheel covered in some vinyl.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's all it was. It was
So,
just
so you were in the passenger seat, or you driving?
I was driving.
Oh, okay. So, just the rain got the best of you, and then
I ended up rolling over 3 or 4 times.
okay.
Because I went up on the curb to avoid the lady. I didn't have a lot of experience.
Yeah. Well, it's 17, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a whole different story too.
Yep.
So you and your sister in the car, and that's it.
Well, her best friend was in the car too.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And so my sister was messed up. I was really bad.
Yeah.
And
What happened to your sister?
she broke her pelvis. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. She was 14 or 15.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, broke her pelvis.
I bet your parents gave you shit.
Well, this is a Ford Ranger, so this is like
Yeah. Would you have 3? Was it?
all front, all you. In
all
the
3 of
front
us in the
seat.
cab. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Bench seat.
Yeah. That's
wow.
crazy. Okay. And then her friend. How, her friend get messed up too, or?
No.
Wow.
Yeah. Nothing happened.
Thank God.
She ended up like,
Yeah,
I
that's
have no
crazy.
idea. She was just like walking around on scene
I was just
afterward.
expecting like a really terrible.
No. I mean, I was the worst
And
one.
you were out basically. Were you unconscious in
Yeah.
the car?
Yeah.
So you just no recollection of what happened.
I have like I have
Bits and pieces.
yeah, fragments and
it's
stuff
like a
like
puzzle
that. Like,
in your brain.
like I was actually like trauma coded.
For
Well, okay,
for everybody
so,
out there,
like my
what
heart
does-
actually
what does that mean?
my heart
Yeah.
actually stopped.
Okay.
So for a little while because I was going into it's called hypovolemic shock. Like I just lost too much blood, so my heart could not beat anymore.
So I guess in addition to the broken neck, you had lacerations that were
Oh
beyond.
yeah, I mean,
okay.
I was pretty bad.
Yeah. Wow. See, and we've been friends for years. I knew you were in an accident, but I didn't know it was that bad. Obviously,
I really don't talk about it that much because
it's
yeah.
but that's kind of what we're doing, right? Is
Yeah,
like trying to get through some of these things that people don't like to talk about. Not just you, but people out there, that are watching this have had similar situations. I'm sure to you.
Absolutely.
So accident happens. You go to the hospital. Obviously, you recover. You wake up, and I assume in a halo, right?
Yes, I was on
Yeah.
Halo. I don't remember when I woke up though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
How long did they tell you were out?
At least 3 days.
Jesus,
Yeah.
that's crazy. What hospital was it?
Bayfront Medical Center in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, that's where everybody goes for major trauma, right? And even then, that's where they went.
Yeah.
That's where I went, right?
That was the place back
that where
when
I
you
was?
had
No, you went to
when
St. Joseph's.
No, you went to Bayfront.
Was it Bayfront?
So what was that?
You were at Bayfront.
Bayfront. She says Bayfront. She's
Bayfront
right.
was the place back in the day, man.
Well, still is. I mean,
but
it's the only level 1 trauma center, or
It's
was
level 2.
Level 2, yeah. Well, see, paramedic here.
Yeah.
knows. Okay, so recovery took how long? I mean, I
Well,
could only imagine.
Okay, so when my mother got there, like I didn't get any crap from my parents. They were really hands off for the most part for my growing up. I really didn't have strong leadership. But anyway, the priest
but that's interesting. Yeah.
the priest met my mother, and when you get to the trauma center,
Yeah.
and the priest meets you, it's pretty bad freaking
Sure.
news. Like
Yeah.
like it's not a doctor or whatever; it's the guy in the robe.
Right. He's
And,
there waiting for your
Yeah,
mother
he was
to
waiting
show
for
up.
her. Yeah,
Yeah,
from what
'cause-
I understand.
Well, then you imagine too. I don't know if y'all had them, but even '97, nobody really had cell phones. They were here, but not like they are now.
No,
Yeah. So somebody calls the house line and says, "Hey, your boy's been in an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the hospital in St. Petersburg," which there were no overpasses. That stuff was just getting built then.
Yeah, it was just
So
like
it was a straight
hour
shot. Hour 45 minutes
Yep.
from Newport Richie Holiday. Yeah, that's
You better
crazy.
hope they actually knew how to get there.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
No GPS.
nothing. We had nothing.
Listen, honey, if you're gonna talk, you got to pop
Yeah,
that
turn the mic
microphone on. I mean, it's okay if you talk, but we can only. It's like a whisper in the background. Anyway, so yeah, that's crazy. So your mother gets there, you know, old
We-
doodly doodly doo is there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, we don't know if he's gonna make it through the night. Jesus. And you know,
So was it the broken neck or was it the
it was
loss of blood?
It was everything. I had multi-system trauma. Like I was just really bad. I was really messed up.
Okay.
Like I you know,
What
I was
is-
on a ventilator, like the works.
What is? I mean,
Multi-system trauma is like
yeah.
just you know more than one part of your body that's bad.
Yeah.
I had you know I had a head injury. I had the obvious you know blood loss.
Yeah.
I had the spinal fractures.
Was the blood loss from internal bleeding then, or
Actually, this scar right here.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. I lost a lot of blood there. Lost a little blood internally.
okay? Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so you're out at least 3 days,
Yeah.
right? You recover. I assume they leave you in the hospital. How long?
I don't even know how long I was in there
A
for.
while, right?
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Were you like, if you don't remember, that's fine. But were you on like one of those? I know you had a halo on, but did they have you in a machine where you couldn't move at all? Or
Yeah,
so
I
they immobilized you completely.
Yeah, I was actually sedated on a ventilator. I remember waking
Okay.
up like bits and pieces, like you know,
Like a trach, like
Well, it was down the actual, like I wasn't on the ventilator long enough. It was to actually get a trach, but
Okay.
I was it was actually in my trachea.
dude. I mean, for anybody to go through that at all, at any time in their life, but let alone a 17-year-old, you know, kid that
And survive it.
and survive it and thrive, you know, once you're done, it is crazy. And you know, thankfully there was somebody there to help. Somebody had the ability and skill to help you through what would you call it, multi-system trauma. Yeah, that's crazy, because even I think today people get in similar accidents, and I'm sure that it's a lot worse. So you just got extremely lucky. Extremely lucky.
Yeah, I have faith because of that. Like,
Yeah.
like there's
For
no
sure, man. That's
doubt about it.
Yeah, it's somebody stepping in there for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. I shouldn't have survived.
Yeah. So you're
Is
what?
there any lingering
Yeah, well,
injuries
that's a
from
great
that?
question,
Like,
yeah.
that you still are dealing with from
No.
that trauma? Really?
Nothing. Wow. Like everything that hurts is not because of the accident.
Yeah,
It's
just
I'm
getting old. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right. Yeah. So you're what, a junior then in high school?
Yeah, I was a junior.
Junior. Yeah. So was this during the summer? Was it?
It was in the summer.
Oh, so did you miss school? Did you at least get to
I
have a
missed-
cool story?
I missed actually. Okay, so y'all went to Ridgewood, right?
Yeah. Ridgewood?
Okay, so I missed the first semester of my senior year. But we had some great people at Ridgewood High School in Newport Richey. It's no longer available,
Yeah.
or it's no longer there. But
Yeah. It's there. It's just not that
I
anymore.
know it's just
yeah.
not the same.
It's crazy. Yeah. So you finished the last 3 quarters, basically graduate, and then what? Then what's the next step?
The next step.
This is your life, Stephen. So.
Okay, so the next step was a lot of so actually the next step I graduated high school and I had a baby.
Okay. All right. Great. Awesome. So
Conceived in a halo. I mean, if you really want to be honest,
Yeah.
like if you're trying to peel the onion back,
in the halo.
yeah.
Wow. I mean, bro, that's skill. That's skill. You're
All
like,
right, you can edit that out. My wife's gonna watch it.
nah, it's fine. She probably already knows. It's fine. Right. And that's your beautiful dollar.
That's my
Your beautiful
my
Cheyenne. right?
Cheyenne,
Yeah.
26 years old now.
That's crazy.
And that's when
Yeah. So that's a big, obviously, anytime you have a kid, if you're a father or a parent out there or a mother or whatever it is, or even grandparents who take care of their kids, it changes everything that you kind of, again, at 18 years old at that point, I imagine, or at least close to it, 17 turning 18 or 18 and all, it's a lot to take on, right? So you decide that you need to step up and do something other than just be a guy.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, I turned 17.
That mic a little closer in front of your face.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay,
Oh, there we
that
go.
better?
Yeah.
Okay, so I turned 18 on July 24th of 1998, and then Cheyenne was born August 27th.
Awesome.
So it was like not even a month after I turned 18.
Yeah.
Like, you're a dad. A little human now. Like, now what I do?
Yeah. Yeah. And then what did you? Tell me that story. Like, because some people just don't do that. Some people just abandon their responsibility, you know?
I did everything I could to make her have a better life.
Yeah.
And I didn't do, like, there's a lot of stuff I failed at, but
Yeah. Well, 'cause that's what failure is all about, is teaching you like something.
yeah, failure is life's
Greatest
greatest
teacher.
teacher.
100%.
Absolutely. And 18, you really don't have a lot of tools in the toolbox,
You had one that was working
So you don't,
in the Halo.
yeah.
So what'd you do? Obviously you're working or trying to recover and work and have a kid, right?
I recovered pretty quick
Yeah.
from my
Well,
accident.
18, you spring back from
Yeah,
anything.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now if I get out of bed wrong,
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
Where's the Advil, right? Yeah. So you're working, you decide that you don't want to just have a regular job, be a regular guy, and then you get inspired to go and volunteer first, right?
well, my first inspiration came while I was in high school.
Okay.
Like,
Before the accident?
yeah, after the accident,
Okay.
I had a truck that broke down in front of a volunteer fire department.
Okay.
So I need to use their phone. We didn't have cell phones.
No, of course not. Yeah.
So I'm like,
Cell phone.
Yeah.
Who could afford one of those now?
I know. It was like, that's when they were like $2 a minute.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And
There was no
So-
texting. Yeah.
We
nothing.
just
Yeah.
have the beepers.
Yeah.
I had a pager, though.
All right.
Everyone had a pager then.
Mark had a green pager.
No, it was purple.
Oh, purple. It was
Did you guys
purple.
have the pagers you could swap the cases?
He did, didn't you?
No,
I thought you did.
no, I had a basic like clear purple one.
His mother used to beep him from to be one street away, and you'd hear, and he'd have to run into my garage and pick up the phone, because this little mongrel used to wander everywhere.
I did.
That's a whole different story. Let's
But
get back.
rea-
Let's go back to
Yeah.
Steve.
Wait, I missed the pagers, though. Like,
Honestly, I kind of miss a pager. You're right. Like, well, we have text now, so it's kind of the same thing, except if you don't answer your text, people can blow you up.
yeah,
So-
exactly.
So you break down in front of this firehouse, volunteer firehouse.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's in
Moon Lake Road.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, not much out there at the time.
No, not at all.
And this is before it's in the Ranger. The Ranger breaks down.
It was after the Ranger.
Okay.
I had already recovered,
Okay.
and I needed to use their phone.
And
So I met some people, and like, maybe they're like, "Do you want to join as a junior?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Yeah. And this
So-
was you were 18.
Still 17. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I really couldn't do much, but I was still part of it because
Yeah.
I really felt like I needed to pay back what
they did for you.
What Pasco County Fire Rescue actually did for me.
Yeah.
And so I started volunteering.
Yeah.
Ran some calls, some things I couldn't do.
So when you're that age and you're volunteering, I'm just, like you said, there's limitations of what you can do. If you're a kid out there right now and you're 17 or even turning 18, becoming an adult, which 18 should no longer be the adult age, by the way, we're gonna maybe dive into that in a minute. But if you're 17 and you're a kid out there now and you have a passion to help, what's the best thing they could do?
The best thing to do is call Pasco County Fire Rescue
Or any fire,
or
really.
any fire department
Yeah.
and ask about riding along with one of the crews.
And if you love it, you get into it and you go down.
Yeah.
And then what are things can they expect to do? Like if you're 17,
Observe.
just scrub a toilet.
Not even that. Just like watch.
Okay.
Like,
Just hang out.
yeah, that's it.
So
Hang
that
out.
you're
walk.
learning through osmosis, seeing it, hearing
Yeah.
them, learning the lingo, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think if you're now, I'm not really familiar with our junior program, but I think if you're under 18, you have to ride with one of our chiefs,
Sure.
and we have 5 chiefs per 5 chiefs per shift, and you just ride with them. They go battalion chiefs. Is what they're called. They go on.
Yeah.
They go on calls as well, depending on the seriousness, and
That's
they'd
awesome.
be able to see.
That's cool. So that was you.
That's
That was you, huh?
That's exciting,
Yeah,
especially for a kid that age.
Well, I mean, there's so many people and there's so many kids out there now that I don't think have a direction because I think the system fails them in a lot of ways.
absolutely.
There are kids that are really good and very interested in things like history or something like that, and you're probably not making money being really interested in history unless you're a professor or go on to teach yourself. There are kids out there who just don't have the basic skills to do, things. But if you want to go out and if you have that burning desire to help, I think volunteering at the fire department, and you're not the only, our other friend Tom, same
Yeah.
thing, so you go in, you observe, you learn while you're there, you learn the lingo, you learn the guys, you learn what's going on. And then when you turn 18, you can officially become at least like a trustee, or what is that? How does that
Well,
work?
you can actually become a firefighter at 18 as an adult. That's where I started, and I went to another volunteer fire station was Magnolia Valley.
Maggie Valley, man.
Yeah, the old Maggie Valley, yeah, where Pasco Station 30 is now. But that's where I went because I really truly had a passion for helping people. I always
Yeah.
have. That's like I really want to I want to do something for somebody.
Yeah.
And but because I had Cheyenne at such a young age, I had to work a lot. So I worked at, I drove a Coca-Cola truck.
Yeah.
I worked at Publix. I mean, there's nothing I haven't done in my life, like
Right.
to provide.
And that's, I think, again, all of those jobs that you have, it's a learning tool that helps you continue on. Like, obviously, I'm sure you took the stuff you learned at Publix and applied it to being in the fire department. It's a life experience that we all gain, obviously, as we go through life. Crazy thing called life, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I like the value of hard work.
Yeah.
That pays off. No matter, we have people that come into the fire service or 20-something years old.
Yeah.
No work ethic.
Well, I mean, that's,
They don't learn it.
Yeah.
So I had, but just being a Publix, it's all about the
customer service.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
Is we take care of the customer.
Right.
And the customers, people call 911.
Yeah, absolutely. So 18, you're an actual firefighter part-time or whatever it is, working to support your young family at home. And Cheyenne's, a year old now-ish?
Just under a year.
Just under a year, yeah. So you're doing all these things. When did you finally transition from doing outside work to being a full-time, that's all I ever do, firefighter? Did it take you a number of years?
It took me a number of years.
Yeah, so 5, 6, 7 years?
Shannon was probably 7.
Okay.
Well, I went to EMT school. And
Yeah, because you're also a paramedic in addition.
I'm a captain paramedic for
Yeah.
Pasco County Fire Rescue.
Yeah.
But I went to EMT school when 1998 or 1999,
Yeah.
and the money just sucked.
Okay. Just not what it should have
It
been
was
for
like
the time,
minimum
or
wage. I was working. It was like minimum wage. I was working at a private ambulance company based out of Newport Richie. I'm
Sure.
like, this is just terrible.
yeah,
So I left it.
Yeah.
Like I got to make money.
yeah. You got to support your family, right?
So-
You're doing all of the right things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I put my life on hold. Like I worked at Publix. I worked for I delivered I sold Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I like to say I sold Coke.
That's yeah, man.
And I mean I was a
Drug
hustler,
dealer,
man.
right, yeah.
So you were like a sales rep.
Yeah. I did say it. It was more like filling orders,
Yeah.
But I drove for Coca-Cola. I drove for Coors. I drove a heavy equipment truck. I ran heavy equipment.
I wonder if we ever crossed paths back then when I used to work for the gas stations.
Maybe. I mean, I've met so many people who are like, "Hey, man, you were my rep." I'm like,
Yeah, because that would have been,
That's
if
possible.
that's 2004, somewhere around there, then, right?
yeah.
5. Yeah.
That's very possible.
It's very possible.
I was probably working for J.J. Taylor, the Coors distributor
yeah.
back then.
when you
so.
went going into Hess, and there, you guys never know it.
Hess Express.
Yeah, you guys never know. I mean, that's
We were all young, so like.
really, yeah. So this goes on for a number of years, and during your time with customer service and sales, I know you developed kind of a passion for leadership as well, right?
Absolutely.
Which I would like to deep dive into in just a little bit here.
Okay,
But
cool.
so you've got a 7-year-old, 6-year-old at home, and then kind of tell me about, because I don't know about that big chunk of your life there when you kind of make this transition from doing that, 9 to 5, and then putting your body and your life on the line as a part-time firefighter to where you are now. That's the gap, right? So talk to me about that time between when Cheyenne's 7 and to where you're a papaw,
Okay, so probably 2000. I think I went back to EMT school in like 2003 or 4. Erin, my wife, everybody knows her.
Yeah.
We were married, or we weren't married at the time. We didn't get married until later on. But I met her, and then I started going back to school,
Okay.
trying to make
She nudged you a little bit. Yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
She
Well,
nudged
yeah.
you?
Well, we met because of one of my jobs. So
Which one and how?
I was actually working
Let's-
at Nation's Rent.
let's talk about
so
this
I knew
now.
Aaron. I knew.
Yeah.
Okay, so I knew Aaron, and in high school when I went to golf, and we won't talk about the golf years. They were pretty bad.
That's fine. Yeah.
But I'm working at a company called Nation's Rent, and they do heavy equipment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my boss Denise is one of her really good, probably her best friend.
Okay.
Yeah, she's like, hey, you may know Erin Fackelman, my best friend. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know of her. I knew who she was immediately.
Yeah.
And
You're like, I know that one.
yeah.
I had my eye on
I was
her.
told
Yeah.
she told me, she's like, do not talk about me, but I got to tell this story.
Okay.
She'll
okay.
tell me.
Sorry, Aaron.
It's easier to ask for
Sorry,
forgiveness
it's my
than for
fault.
permission, so.
Sorry about that.
Um,
We are telling Steven stories here.
yeah, this is my story.
Yeah.
It's your permanent mark.
Yes,
Yeah, bud.
yeah, permanent mark.
All of this is important. It's all important.
Good marks, bad marks, they're still marks we remember. So
Yeah.
anyway, so she's like, you may know my best friend, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know who she was.
Yeah.
And so we started dating,
Mm-hmm.
and like, I really wanted, I needed to get my life together anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I started going back to school and wanting to make a career for myself somewhere.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was just looking for a way.
And you needed somebody to walk the path with you, basically.
Well, she was always there to push me to
Yeah.
do better, But I just I was looking for structure.
Okay.
I've always been I'm big on that.
Yeah.
I was looking for structure, and what I was doing was I had no structure in my life. So
Gotcha.
I need to find a career that actually had that. So
Yes. Somebody to go to be with you and to show you kind of the way and to walk that path and go with you and stick with it.
well, she just she had already had her AA degree, and I'm like, man, I don't have anything.
Yeah. You fall into the same kind of ditch that other people do. You get so busy, especially with you having a child young.
Yeah.
You get so busy going from child yourself to dad to I got to make what I can out of my life by doing what I can to be a good dad and a good partner to Cheyenne's mother, I would assume, right? You guys
Yes.
were still during that time together, and you're like, I got to do all this. And I would imagine at some point it becomes overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when you do it by yourself, you have no guidance.
Right. And you don't have any support. You have no guidance. You're trying to figure it out all on your own, which, has not necessarily my story, even Mark's story, but at some point we all fall into that category too, where it's like, okay, I'm just going to do what I can to get by and worry about the future when I get there. Right.
Absolutely.
And then that's what happened to you for 7 years.
Yeah.
Right. So you meet Erin and you guys, she helps you push yourself along. You finally go on full time with the fire department. Am I right?
Yeah, it was a couple of years. She didn't really push me. I just wanted to do better for her.
Okay.
And we weren't even married. I'm just like,
You got to
You know,
impress. You want to be impressive.
I pretty much.
Yeah. You're like, I can impress this one. Yeah.
And so I went back to EMT school. I started working
Okay.
at Sunstar EMT
Yeah.
or Sunstar Paramedics is the name of it.
Not a sponsor.
No, they're a private ambulance company
Yeah.
in Pinellas County, dude. And then I went to paramedic school.
Yeah.
I started working at All Children's Hospital on their
Oh, shit.
neonatal transport team.
Okay, wait. How was that?
Rewarding,
Uh-huh.
but in the same token, there's a lot of
Tragic.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of heart. It was
I got to imagine not only for kids that, have normal situations happen to them, but I would imagine maybe kids that don't have the best background, parents, and,
yeah.
we all have a close friend that is a homicide detective, so I couldn't imagine doing that. And then I didn't know that you were on that either. So that's,
Yeah, I'm pretty mysterious now. I feel like
you're a mysterious man. Yeah. Man of mystery. So that must've been really difficult, right?
It was so rewarding.
Yeah. No,
More
I
rewarding than anything.
totally. Yeah.
There's a lot of there was some bad stuff.
Yeah.
But more positive than anything.
And
Did you deal with more with kids that had cancer, or was it
We
kids
dealt
that
with-
had injuries?
It was both, but a lot of the kids we transported were kids that were born sick, and then we just a lot of it was transporting them from one hospital to another. It's actually what we did mostly, was one hospital to another, so they're stable. And I was actually not even I didn't really have as much to do with
like the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would just transport them. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it was really rewarding because there was kids that would come up to the where our transport office was.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, man, I saw you on a ventilator last time I saw you. And now they're running around.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
And our children's hospital has something called the Child Life Team.
Yeah.
Which are just like they're not kids, but they're just like young adults. They're just there to play with kids. Like,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, they're awesome. That's like,
Yeah.
man, just bring around PlayStations to kids and play
Yeah.
with them. Like,
Oh, that's
sign me up.
yeah. That sounds like a great opportunity for
Yeah.
people to volunteer and help
Absolutely.
out. Yeah, sure. So you do the neonatal transport. This is what year? If you had to guess.
I was probably 28 or 29.
Okay.
So
So you're dating Aaron.
still dating Aaron.
You guys are going strong, and then
Then we got married and Trip was born.
yeah,
And I decided that, private ambulance, and even though like I was doing great, it was time to move on to a career. So
yeah. And then what was your first department you were on with?
Pasco County.
And then what was it like? A big station, small station? Like, I guess my question is with at that point almost 10 years of experience that you had in and out with private EMTs and then working and volunteering, do you get like a foot in at a better station, or do you wind up?
You're at the bottom.
Okay.
And
So they don't name the station then.
oh no, actually
Yeah.
the station was actually part of the circling back to my accident.
Yeah. Okay.
The station I went to was station 24 on C shift, and it was in Dade City. And
Okay.
the guy that came up to me was like, "You don't remember who I was, do you?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "You look kind of familiar," but he's like, "You don't remember coming up to Station 11 where you were like a zombie wearing the halo, like, oh, I want to do what you do." He was like making fun of me. He was my first captain, so that was his job, was just ragging the probie. And he's like, "Dude, I was like in your accident. I remember everything about it."
Wow.
It was the guy that saved my life, Captain Glenn Buzzy.
That's incredible.
Yeah, things come full circle, man.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So this was what year?
in 2010, October 16, 2010 is when I began my career.
So sometime before that, I had a terrible accident, a real bad one, and I have a very similar experience. Mine was on,
Rowan Road in Massachusetts.
thank you, Rowan and Mass. I always say Congress. I don't know why. Rowan and Mass, and this lady hit me and it was a motorcycle. Really long story short, years go by, and then I think I'm out with you and Tom and a couple of people. This guy comes up and he goes, "I know you." I said, "Well, I don't know you." He goes, "I saved your life." I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, I was in the car that I came to you when you just got hit. I was the first guy out there, and he was a volunteer at the time. I think his name is Chris, maybe. I don't know. Sorry, dude. I don't remember your name, but I remember the story. And you basically made sure I didn't get hit by a car and called the fire department directly. And they were there within a couple of minutes, which is absolutely nuts. So, shout out to you, bud. Thanks for saving my life, because I wouldn't be here without you. So, so crazy how that all kind of.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like,
So Pasco is a big county, but a small world. Is what I like to say.
absolutely. Oh yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So out in Date City, which is like, rural Pasco, right?
Oh,
There's still
yeah.
there's still cows and farms, and I bet you run some crazy calls out there during this time, right?
Yeah.
And how's that? I mean, you're living in Port Richey, New Port Richey at the time.
I'm living in Holiday.
Okay, so and you're commuting an
Yeah.
hour. It's an hour-ish.
Back then it was an hour, and now
Yeah.
it's like an hour and 30.
Traffic.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. And then you're working what? 3 on, 2 off, or
24 hours on, 48 hours off.
okay. And then in between that time, you're finding time to do other things.
Yeah. I'm still a dad.
Yeah.
We're married. I have another, I have Trip,
Yeah.
who's now 16.
Yeah. Shout out, True.
Yeah.
So you've got a 10-year-old, a baby,
Yep.
basically, double dad duty, newly married-ish, kicking it at the fire department, and then also doing some training to improve your station in the fire department, right?
Well, because I got hired on as just a straight it's called single certified paramedic. So
Yeah.
I still had to go to a formal fire school, because when you're a volunteer, you really don't go to
don't go to,
a
like, the
formal
big one?
fire academy. You just
And how long does that academy last?
it's a full semester.
Okay. Just Do you have to have a collegiate background or just
No,
go? Anybody
you
go?
just go. I mean, I had like because I was already a paramedic, I just
You
went
had
to
the
the
you
academy.
had the chops.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So you're out at Date City. You were there what? A couple years?
I was there, and then I was only there for orientation.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going over to Holiday for
Okay.
a little while.
Yeah. Close to home.
Yeah, right around
Yeah.
the corner.
Trips what, 2? Something like
Yeah,
that. maybe?
probably. Yeah, about 2.
2-ish. Yeah, somewhere around there. And then what now? And years go by, and the way we know each other is because our kids went to a private school together, and they're now best friends.
Yeah.
We got the foursome. They're inseparable, even though they don't live close to each other anymore. In some cases, they still spend a lot of time together, which is fun. So the kids are now 7 or 8, and I know at that time you had started doing some additional like mentor and leadership classes and things like that to get kind of moving in a different direction within the fire department. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
I
I thought I was right.
You can only be there are certain people that can be firefighters their whole career, and that's what you need in the job. People that can be great mentors as firefighters. Take a new guy under your wing as a firefighter.
Yeah.
And teach them everything. We've had some great guys that did that. But I wanted to move up on the ladder.
Yeah.
So I started, I took, all the required driver classes, which were company officer, driver, and pump ops, company officer, tactics, instructor 1 classes. I had to get my fire officer 1 certificate.
Okay.
And
Is that a difficult process?
not really.
No? Okay.
I mean,
Say yes. So people are like, "Oh man, that was great! Like, look at all those accomplishments he had."
it's a long process. Some of the classes are really tedious.
The end game is so that you can make the next generation of firefighters better. Am I
Yes.
assuming? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can become a captain yourself eventually. So that takes forever, because I think up until the last couple of years, you were doing extra classes. I know you went to college to get some degrees and things like that too.
I
Right?
mean, I have a ton of certs and a ton of education. Like I went
Yeah.
to, like just to get captain, just to get to captain was another 7 or 8 classes.
Yeah.
On top of what I already had.
On top of your regular workload and baseball at this point.
Yeah, baseball coach for 2 kids.
Right. It's yeah. Oh, and then Artie comes along too. Around
you
this,
forgot about
in this
poor
time
Artie.
frame.
She's 10 now.
Yeah, no, but this roughly the same time as you start doing all these advanced classes, you get another surprise.
Yep.
Baby.
Yeah,
So
none
you-
of my kids were planned.
Yeah.
It's just
right.
like
Right. That's fine. Yeah.
that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but you get who's completely and totally fierce. She is a wild child and is incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible. So is Tripp. Tripp's a great kid.
He is.
He's got a great heart.
But they're totally different. Kids.
Totally different.
Like you need like 2 different people to parent them.
Yeah.
It's
2
tough.
different
She
styles.
is
Yeah.
tough, man.
So all the kids, all of them, our kids, Mark's girls, they're all different. It's all it's all in the personality and what they bring. It's crazy. So you guys are going strong. Got the kids. Everything's good. And then now, where we're at roughly now, is you're kind of on the tail end of your experience in with the fire department in a full-time capacity, correct?
Yeah, I mean,
You got a couple more years left.
yeah, I got a few more years left.
Yeah, a few good years under your belt.
Yeah.
And what's next?
I'm passionate about mentorship.
Okay.
And that leadership or that aspect of leadership. And I actually between injuries and stuff like that I've had with my knee surgeries and everything else, I had to look outside the fire department for mentorship. So,
Sure. How do you mean?
Well, I was fortunate to meet up with some business mentors outside of the fire department that are building stuff outside that are expanding down here and other areas, and join their some of the leadership programs there, and
Yeah.
going to see where that goes.
That's great. So that's kind of the next kind of thing you'll do, right?
Yeah.
Because we're young-ish
Yeah,
still. So you got a good 30 years plus ahead of you.
I still have I've lived 1,000 life, but I still have 1,000 more left to go.
Right, sure. Yeah. So I think that's the exciting part is both myself and Mark Mark is a leader within his community as well, and a lot of what I've done in my professional career has been leadership, mentorship, trainings, things like that. And I think that even when I coach football, it's not the kids winning, and this is probably the same with baseball too. It's helping them develop into new humans and teaching them things. It's rewarding when somebody, a child or an adult, comes to you and says, "Hey, I was at this training seminar, or you were coaching a group of us, and I remember this specific thing, about what you taught me." And that's the part of mentorship and leadership that I fully enjoy. I don't care about the rest of it. Like, I can give the same, sermon, if you want to call it, every time I talk to somebody. It's about the
connection.
The connection. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So that's the really exciting part for me, for you, because I know that while you've been involved in it, it's not been your gig, like, specifically. So tell me about how you think you're going to be able to help in these ventures.
Well, like I went outside the fire department. I got inspired as a young adult. Like,
Yeah.
I met up with an organization that was. I learned about dreaming and, like, trying to just think about outside where you're going to be at, and that's like you guys are
positive affirmation.
Absolutely, you guys are making this podcast. We're all in our 40s.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, we all have jobs outside of what we're doing right now, right?
Yep.
But there's something more out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, can you think past what we do and what you want to do, like, to impact the future?
Yeah.
And I, because of all the stuff that I went through, like, I lost the ability to do that for a long time.
Yeah. Sure.
And it took me a long time to find. Like, at 44 years old, I can still dream.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can still want to do other things.
Yeah.
And, like, I commend you guys for doing it. Like,
Well,
you guys are stepping out. It's awesome.
Well, it's
Especially
fun.
to your friends too. Like, it's even better.
It's for funsies. We'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. But I mean, like, having, we do this now because, we joked about this 7 months ago, and we're like, well, why can't we do it? There's no barrier to entry other than buying some equipment and that kind of stuff. And, the purpose of Permanent Mark is to help people and to leave lasting, imprints on them that last for forever. And I believe that we can do that through this variety of mentorship, because I believe that's what we're doing. I believe that this video will live online forever once it gets posted.
Oh, yeah.
And 100 years from now, you never know if somebody pops on and goes, what were those guys like 100 years ago?
And, who
And I
knows,
hope that we are able to.
You might, what we're talking about right now resonates with them in 60
it's
years.
going on forever, man.
Oh, yeah. So
And even what they're watching right now, things that we're talking about resonates with people right now
yeah. Yeah. So.
of your story.
And it's fascinating because I think the overall you've had to overcome a lot of obstacles, and those obstacles are not bad things. Like, being a parent young is difficult. Even when we started in our 20s, it was difficult then. We didn't know it. During the time you go, man, this is the greatest thing ever. You don't realize how difficult it is to do that and have your life and have, in our case, a successful marriage for 20 plus years now. And it's difficult. You learn to figure yourself out, figure your spouse out, figure out your relationships with your friends. This one I can't ever leave. Gaining new friends that you never know if we're going to last. Those things
Yeah.
Everybody out there has gone through that.
I think it's the first time. Like, Mark, I think is awesome, but we don't. I mean, we've probably seen, like,
Yeah, we've hung out plenty of times.
Yeah, but like, never
enjoyed
got
each other, but-
No one really knows, like, who Steve is, because I'm like, everybody thinks I'm, like, really quiet. I am kind of quiet and reserved. And this new venture that I'm going on right now is to
get you out of
me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But if I could just be like, you know what? If you have a goal or a dream, I just want to reach down and I want to grab it and I want to put it in front of you and I want to say, you can do it, and I want to be there for you to do that. Like, that's a lot of people don't know that about me. But
So
I'm
that
really
you don't have
passionate.
really like a specific thing you want to mentor. You want to just be
Well, I mean, like, the business that I'm doing right now is about mentorship, and it's about building businesses and building relationships. And I have always been one of the quieter people, mainly because I'm taking and observing. But I do enjoy talking to people. I just got to get out there.
You haven't had ample opportunity.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's okay. You haven't had ample opportunity to do it.
No, I have not.
You know, and it takes a while, and to first of all be comfortable in your own skin, talking to other people. It's 20 years of conversations with people is what I have. It's all I've ever really done as a profession is talk to complete strangers 20 times a week, or even more sometimes. I've met tens of thousands of people, and I've had tens of thousands of conversations about their dogs, primarily, and their lives, and things that have gone wrong, or I've gone into situations where you don't know if somebody's had, recent tragedies and things like that. And that is also the emphasis of what we're trying to do here, is because I said it on TikTok the other day. Everybody has similar stories, but not yours.
Yeah.
We've all kind of been through the same thing one way or another, whether it's the loss of a parent, a grandparent, a divorce, a child moving away, personal tragedies or whatever they might be. But we all have these stories of how you overcome those things. The ones of us that are still around, it's getting to that point where you've had obstacles in your way and, persevering beyond that, because that's the hard part. That's the hard in life. People don't realize that. I think sometimes we think that we're the only ones that are ever had this feeling or thought, and it's just not true. It's not true at all.
Mm-hmm.
You got nearly killed by a car, so did I. Mark nearly got shot once.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't remember that shit,
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
When I used to work at Hess, I was by myself running the shift, the end of the day shift on a Sunday night. And there was a round of robberies that was going on around the neighborhood that day. And so all of the community Hess gas stations were in communications with each other to be like, hey, make sure that this happened here, keep an eye on your till, make sure you're only keeping so much money in there. And fortunately I was smart enough. I kept a little bit of little bit of money in there, and I was in the middle of washing dishes and turned around, and the guy was standing at the counter, and he's got a black bandana with I can remember the guy's eyes.
I bet.
Like, I can still, this day, remember just looking into this guy's eyes.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Did it leave you a permanent mark?
It did. It did.
Shit, sorry.
Sorry.
It really did.
It's low-hanging fruit.
It was. I had to go for it.
It really it changed my perspective, because being a father with having a 2.5-year-old and a 4.5-year-old.
Oh, that's scary.
It was like, oh my God. I mean, he could have killed me.
Yeah.
And what would have happened? My children would have been left without a father. They would hardly have even remembered me. One probably wouldn't have remembered me at all.
Yeah.
And just spent a lot of time with my kids after that.
Yeah.
Like, extra time. Because it was just like, that was the only therapeutic thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was already divorced at that point in my life. I was by myself. I had support of my friends and my family, but it was quite a traumatic thing. I didn't know what to do in the situation when it unfolded, other than you just cooperate, give it what he wants, and get him out.
Yeah, you just want to go home.
Yeah, that's all I want. I'm like, I just remember the biggest thing was I kept on telling the guy, I'm like, look, dude, I got kids. I don't care. What you can have whatever the hell you want. I've got kids. Just don't do anything stupid.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I didn't know that about you. That's wow.
Yeah. So that was definitely one of my permanent marks that have shaped my life.
Wow.
But it never really affected me on trusting people. I've just been more of cautious with how I approach people, because you just never know.
You don't know. Really.
You never know what kind of person you're going to deal with next. What's their mental stability or situation. Yeah. I think the guy that I was dealing with was on drugs at that moment, it's even scarier because lack of control.
They can't reason.
Yeah.
You can't reason with somebody
Zero.
like that. You can't. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad it turned out to where we're sitting
thank
here.
God.
I mean, really.
Yeah, that and if it's your first time with us, Mark and I have been friends for 36 years. So it's a long time, right? 36?
I think it's more.
38?
Oh, we've known each other since 1988. I'm not doing the math, but 36, 37 years.
Somewhere in that
That's
ballpark.
a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah, I remember him
How old were you guys when you met?
4?
4.5.
Wow.
Um,
Can I use the restroom?
you want to take a potty break real
Yeah,
quick?
please.
Yeah, let's take a break.
So
yeah,
let's
let's take it.
let's do that real quick, and we'll be right back. Hey listeners, if you're running a small or large business and want to keep your IT running smoothly, you need to check out Computer Quest. They take the hassle out of managing technology, whether it's cybersecurity, asset tracking, or even full-service IT management. They've got you covered. I've been working with Computer Quest, and let me tell you, it has been seamless and smooth end to end. Their expertise and support make a real difference. Plus, they can source hardware from the brands you love at competitive prices, so you're always getting the best value. Don't wait for tech issues to slow you down. Visit cqbits.com. That's CQBITS.com. And make sure to tell them Permanent Mark Podcast sent you.
Mark almost getting shot. Was
All right,
it
Mark. Sorry, Mark. Because I had a question on that anyway,
Yeah.
and then we'll move on.
Yeah,
But
sure.
Sorry, Mark. We got to open that Band-Aid up one more time.
Okay.
I'm
1,
good.
2, 3. Okay, so so what I was saying, when Mark was, assaulted was not right, but it was a mental assault.
Oh, it was an emotional assault for
and
sure.
God,
You
was
had a
that?
gun in your face. Like
What's that?
you had a gun in your face. Like
So it was. I mean, it was pointing at me. He was shaking the whole time while he was doing
it's face
it.
or chest. You got to be scared of your mind.
Yeah, it was pointing in my direction,
Bring it right up on you.
and
Get right
There you
in
go.
there.
Oh, that's way better.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
that's
All right,
perfect.
Well, okay.
then
Yeah.
I can literally play it back in my mind, the entirety. I don't even have to watch the video, which I have the copy of the video, but I don't even need it because it's something that just it's imprinted in my mind for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, it came up on my memories the other day that we're looking for this dirt bag. So, producer Miranda you want to say something? What are we doing?
What?
I thought you were flagging me down for a second. No? Oh, okay.
Producer Miranda.
Yeah. Producer Miranda.
You know,
She's
the biggest
She
thing
really
that
is.
it did.
We would imagine if we. Anyway, go ahead.
So, I would say paranoia for a good month.
Oh yeah.
A good month.
Yeah.
I didn't stop working for Hess. Thank God I had actually the following 2 days scheduled off. So,
Because those bastards weren't going to give it to him.
God,
They would have said, "Get right back out there."
it was terrible. But I was able to take a breather, and I took a moment to think about what am I doing here.
A little closer there, buddy. Get it right in your mouth hole. No,
Okay.
get it out of your beard.
Yeah, I can hear.
How's this?
That's fucking
Oh,
significantly
phenomenal.
better.
Yeah, I
like
can
it.
hear you now.
Wow, look at that!
Probably
Like
the loudest.
I
Jesus
forget,
Christ.
I forget where my chin is sometimes.
Which one?
Which
You can't tell. He's got a
I
beard.
can't stand you. I will never shave this beard unless
No,
I
you
lose
better
weight.
not.
That's another
You better
story.
not. Unless I'm going to say when.
Oh, it's
I
gonna.
be- I believe in you.
I believe in myself too. It's not the first time that I've lost weight.
Steve, I don't believe.
I think you can do it.
So,
Don't tell.
biggest thing, like I said before, was
Speaking of
that
biggest.
eyes. There were many times I thought that somebody, they always say that like a criminal always revisits the crime scene, and I was.
He's probably a
I would-
customer. He was probably a customer, bro.
Well, I mean, this is West Pasco.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody. It's a small community. It's a
Yeah.
big community, but it's a small community at the same time.
Can I guess the
That's
name?
what we said.
Can I guess the intersection?
Yeah,
No,
go for
Was
it.
it Ridge Regency?
No.
No,
really? I would figure
No.
That's
that's
Plath Road.
Plath and Rowan,
Yeah.
which is a hell of a
That's a better
intersection.
area.
It's a dark area,
Yeah, that's true.
It's an easy in, easy out, and
Mark, let's just what do you mean dark, Mark?
dark by like it's not
Okay.
well lit.
All right. That's-
Really? So,
Okay.
but yeah, that was the biggest thing. And then I was very, the paranoia set in big time, looking at everybody's eyes, staring at them like,
You're trying to find him.
Yeah, because like I knew if I saw these eyes, I would know,
Oh.
and it lasted for about a month and a half of the paranoia, and then slowly I was able to kind of just get back into a normal thing, But it didn't help that these companies, these big companies, are so cheap, and they were only putting one person on a closing shift, or in midnight shifts that have only one person on. I mean, this is people's lives you're dealing with,
And that went on for a long time.
it still happens.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's still happening.
That's crazy.
It's disgusting.
I don't travel at night that much anymore. Like
Yeah.
past midnight because I'm old. But like even if I have to go to like racetrack or whatever,
Yeah.
there's still one person there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like it's, like he said, not improving. And really, I would imagine.
And the quality of the community is
I was gonna say.
not improving either in certain areas of where we
It's
live.
getting worse.
I would also
Where we live,
say
I mean, it's
that trying to find people to work those shifts is going to be difficult.
Of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're not dealing with people about, banging down your door to work, a closing shift,
Mm-hmm.
even work at all. So, and for us, like that was, permanent marks or whatever it is. But even with Mark, that was probably outside of my incident with, getting, in the motorcycle accident, which had been 10 years prior to that almost.
Just about.
It was probably the closest as friends and family after 36 plus years that we had come to like, a tragedy happening to somebody.
Yeah, you had your almost, and then I had my almost.
But it's funny how everybody, again, like I said before, we all kind of walk this same path. Shit happens like to everybody. There's countless times where, that happened to other people at different stores, different locations. It didn't happen at 54 too.
It happened at several stores that day.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's
It was-
crazy. All in one day.
All in one day.
And that guy.
They actually shot the gun
Yeah.
at one of the locations that were on US 19.
Well, and that guy, think about it, whoever he is and wherever he is now,
Never forget it.
you'll never forget it.
I'll
He's
never
probably
forget
forgotten it. He probably may not even realize he was doing it, like you said.
Oh, the guy that
The guy
actually
that
know
did
what drugs
yeah.
are.
Oh
yeah,
God.
yeah. And people, we have this, ability to impact people's lives from every second that we're out here, right? And that's transitioning back into kind of, I think, what you're looking to do as you move forward is, be a leadership and mentorship with, whether it's yourself and you're out there, you shared that you make some of these really great audio notes, whether you take that and compile it into a book or you put it in ChatGPT like I did today for that.
I'm still waiting on the capybara.
Maybe we'll get-
capybaras.
Maybe I'll
And then-
post it and see what everybody thinks. And then
That
we can,
I was laughing hysterical.
Dude,
What a
part two.
what a stupid story,
I
but
read
so
that, I'm like,
funny.
a capybara wearing a bowler.
yeah. That'd be a great tattoo.
It would.
That would be an awesome
We
tattoo.
only knew somebody.
I know, right?
Toes.
But my career in sales, we talk. I think sales is like a dirty word almost.
Salesman is a dirty word.
Yeah,
I
salesman,
don't think that.
dude. You're one of the 10% that doesn't.
I don't think that because and Steve Caldwell.
Yeah.
Steve Caldwell, a good friend of ours.
Yeah,
I talk to him at least once a week.
yeah,
And like Ty Crandall, another good friend of ours.
Yeah.
They both have a background in sales. Ty sold cars. I never knew that about him until I talked to him a couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
Like the thing about it sounds like my audio is off a little bit. Like I'm
It might be. It's just you got to lean into it a little bit.
okay. So
Yeah, you got to just lean into it.
I try not to get too excited. That's what I need.
Yeah,
to
just
do.
bring
Bring it down. a
Yeah,
little
bring
bit.
it. Just just
you know,
it's just we're just hanging out in a room.
but it's just something I'm passionate about because the
You
thing.
you got to project into that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so
that's
the thing.
that's significant. If you just stayed right there the whole time.
Oh, I see. I'm
And there
really
it
hard
is.
about
Go
this.
ahead.
So the thing about sales is, as an officer at the fire department, yeah, I'm a captain. I'm an officer. I'm in charge of people, but it's up to the captain to actually find out what these people need
Sure.
to be the leader, and you
Yeah.
actually need to know what people need, and that's where people with a background in sales, I find, are the strongest leaders.
Well, and, I think
Even-
I think you're right. I think generally sales people, because again, with my time in mentoring, leadership, and training, you find most salespeople prefer to work alone and prefer not to be bothered because they are typically I don't want to say an alpha because I don't think that's correct. I think it's more they have a very clear vision of their ability sometimes, right? And that's one of the things that, like you're saying, if you're a captain, you have to have this set of skills in mentorship and leadership to be successful because you're not mentorship is not about what you can bring to the table and show and tell people. It's about, can you find out what they need and match your skills to that? And that's the same thing with sales.
It's also about the ability that you have to identify where their strong points are and working.
Put them in the right spot.
Yeah. Or connect with the right people.
Yeah. And I've been very successful as a salesperson. I've been in jobs where I'm not successful at it, and sometimes it's maybe about the way I operate because I think there are two things that happen when you walk into a room if you're a salesperson or somebody comes to you as a salesperson. Most of the time, they think that you're out for your own personal gain, and then they also assume that you're the expert in whatever field that is, right? And I think if you can just simply applies to leadership and mentorship and a lot of other things, if you can just turn that on its head and say, hey, I think that I want to service your need first, and then the sales portion of it comes along. And there are guys out there like Andy Elliott and all these 10X guys, and they think that people are simply meant to be a commodity and be blown through, and we're going to call 1,000 people a day until somebody says yes, because they're trying to just, in my opinion, and not that I have firsthand knowledge, and correct me on the internet, maybe I'm wrong, but to me it feels like when you listen to these guys, they're just going to take, either they're going to have somebody who's going to say yes immediately, or they're just going to beat somebody to death until they say it, or get them to do, I think they call them, affirmative words, where you go, doesn't that sound good to you? And nobody, unless you've been stuck in a room for 5 hours already, a real genuine yes or a real genuine connection with somebody as a leader is really hard to come by. Really, really hard to come by.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough because I know you have a background in sales. I just, the other friends we have, I can pick your brain about it, but asking the right questions and finding out what people need.
Yeah. It's not even sometimes about even answering the right questions. Honestly, it's about listening to what they're saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even have to ask the question. They're so ready to tell you what they need in one way or another that you do it. I don't know if you know this. Did you know that Ty was a top, like a number one selling writer? He's got a number one book.
I did not know that.
He does. It's fascinating.
I know he used to do some speaking and stuff.
He does all that stuff still, but he's got like the number one book on business finance. It's like,
you need to have him on here.
I'll say, shout out maybe Ty if he sees this. We should do it. We should pot it up, buddy.
I would love to pick his brain for
come to the penthouse. It'll be fine. Lots of fun.
What kind of secrets do you think he has on the boys?
Oh, well, okay. I guess we can talk about it. I know some of the secrets already.
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know?
No, I'm an official representative of Pasco County. I can't.
No, it's nothing bad.
I know. They're boys. They're good
everything
boys.
we were doing when we were 14 and 15 and 16, I'm sure that those boys are going to be into it or getting into it soon. It's not much worse. You know what? We've raised our boys, our kids, and their friends, the four of them. They're good kids.
They really are, man.
They're really, and they all balance each other out in ways that you would not expect. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I think that as a parent, ultimately, aren't we all just mentors to our children?
Yeah.
That's what being a parent is all about, right? And you mentioned it earlier, and you mentioned it as well, is that none of the kids are all different. You've got Artie, who's a completely different personality and Trip. Your girls are separate. They have a lot of the same values.
They're so much alike, but so different.
So different in so many ways. And my kids are every single one of them is different. And I think that, and you can attest to this more than anybody because you're a papa.
Oh, man.
Now.
Pop G is what
Papa
they call
G?
me. Yeah, Pop G. P-O-P.
Pop G.
Pop G.
That sounds like a Korean pop band.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe K-pop?
Is that what they call that?
I think so.
Oh, it's weird.
Trip hates it. My 60-year-old Trip, he hates K-pop.
Oh, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good thing. Otherwise, he'd be wearing, fuzzy headphones or whatever they call it, and tails to school. It's possible. But I think that each kid is the more you have, I think the little better you become at being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you parent the older kids a little bit different, and then you learn and you move on, and then you just then it just becomes, I don't want to say second nature, but I think that really you learn to be more of a teacher and less of a authoritarian. I think
I think you're harder on your first one usually
100%,
because you're not sure of what to do. So it's
think
kind of you're learning with them.
Yeah, except it wasn't my first one because Cheyenne obviously
I know,
wasn't
yeah.
with me. I was probably harder on Trip than I am with Arden.
He's a boy.
But
Yeah.
your first boy. Well, your only boy.
You know what though? I like I didn't really have a strong dad. I didn't have really any father figure growing up. Really, I mean, not anybody to look up to.
Yeah.
I set the bar low. I was just like, I want to be better than them.
Okay, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, and I think I
think you do pretty
heads,
good.
Heads and tails way above the bar.
Yeah.
But I'm still learning.
Do you ever think though, because of that it changed how you would be? Like, do you think that not having a strong hand in your upbringing makes you the father that you are now?
Yeah, I think so. I still struggle with it though. I'm gonna be vulnerable. Like I'm always learning about how to be a better dad.
Of course.
I've made
Yeah.
so many mistakes.
Yeah.
Do you ground them? Do you yell at them? What do you do?
Yeah.
I think we were
Yeah.
all still making
Yeah,
those
I mean,
mistakes. We'll
it's
always
like,
continue
well,
to make those
who wrote
mistakes.
your handbook? Did you get your handbook?
It must have got lost in the mail.
I have mine too,
How about-
man. It's
how
just
about
like,
yours?
what about yours, Mark? Producer?
Still waiting on it.
You got your handbook? No, we didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I just want to do everything my parents did, but opposite.
Yeah. So let's
We could maybe peel that part of the onion bag later
Yeah.
on, but
That's
I'm
it.
not ready
Yeah,
to do
that's
it.
it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, but I think that sometimes people would use that as a cop out because they would say, well, nobody ever taught me. I don't know how to be a parent. And this is the reason that I don't want to be a parent, or that, I don't want to be a true mentor or leader to my kids because nobody ever showed me how to do it. I don't want to take the time. And I'm sure that we've all seen that in certain ways. Certainly in public, you see it every day. You see kids have meltdowns and breakdowns, and either the kids don't have any guidance, or they have hovering parents that over-guided them, or have, I don't want to say it's extremely strict schedules or whatever it might be. We saw some kids today. We went to one of the markets, and the kids were absolutely, it's like 11:30. It's like super early. It might be at noon, but this is like a public event. There's probably 100 people there, and these kids are just completely having this meltdown because you're like, and we, my wife and I turn to each other and go, it must be nap time for those kids, and they're off their schedule for the day because, I think that we put a lot of these unusual pressures for those kinds of things on kids. It's like to fit our convenient needs. And I know for a fact, I'll tell you as parents, that's what we did our first time around. It was like, okay, this is how it goes. This is exactly what we're doing. And you can't miss nap time. And then that all went out the window, when you have another kid. I think that, I know what your moment is that changed you as a parent. It's when you were divorced.
Right.
I know that because I saw it. I saw it happen. I saw the emotional toll it took on you. I saw the physical toll that took on you. And bravo to you for still having a wonderful relationship with your ex-wife and still being an awesome dad to your kids, because it takes a lot to again overcome. Like you said it at the time. You said that getting divorced is like a death, going through it, and you go through the motions, you go through denial, you go through acceptance, you go through whatever the 7 stages are of grief,
anger,
all of that, right? And at the end, you never know what's going to happen. I think for you, and the way you handled that was exceptional. You had a lot of shit that got in the way.
But a lot of it was I had a lot of support.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine that was going through a somewhat similar situation at the same time, and we leaned into each other quite a bit.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
Wasn't me.
It
I
was
was gonna say,
it was
yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah.
And it was, and I'll forever be grateful.
Sure.
For him and for how we got through it. And there was no handbook for that either.
Well,
no, there's not.
and to
You
be fair,
just-
that's one of the times I couldn't be there for you.
You couldn't.
I didn't understand what you were going through. There was a time when we were at your house and your ex-wife turned to my wife and said, "Don't you ever just get tired of this?"
Yeah,
Just like the everyday life. It might not have been, I might be paraphrasing and I might be wrong, but it was just like, how do you keep on going? Like, how do you stay married? And it's, the secret is it's not always easy.
Nope.
So, and that's more of those objections overcoming and persevering and, part of sharing your story, is the stuff that you've had to overcome, and for you to be as involved as you are in your girls and have that great relationship with your ex-wife, and whenever we're together, you speak so highly of her and so proud of the accomplishments that she's come over.
Yes.
That says a lot about you, a lot about the relationship he has with your ex-wife, and how you guys are still in some ways a family unit.
Most definitely.
Can Papa say something real quick?
Sure.
About that's awesome, man. Like Cheyenne, my oldest daughter, has four grandparents, she has four parents, but our grandson has, four grandparents. Like, did I do the math right on that one? There's
don't
a
know.
lot of parents involved. Holy cow.
Well, your
eight.
partner, Cheyenne's mother, right?
Yeah.
You guys never got
Monica.
married.
No, we did not.
All right, but then when you all separated, she got married, yeah?
Yeah, she did. She married a guy named Matt.
And
great dude.
Great dude, right?
Yeah.
Helped raise Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Great kid. In
Yeah.
Navy?
What's that?
Was she in the Navy?
She went in the Air Force.
Air Force, that's right.
Air Force,
Great kid.
But it's important to there's so many times I had to bite my tongue. I'm like,
Yeah.
But to have that relationship to where
It wasn't easy to
it's
get
not
to
easy,
get
man.
there.
It's not.
No.
But and in the beginning for me, it was like, I had this vision of how it should be, and the expectation in my mind was that it should be instantaneous. And the reality was there was a lot of emotion, but one thing that we agreed upon was the fact that we would never allow our grievances to affect the kids.
Yeah, that's important, man. That's
And the circumstances that were behind our reasons, that doesn't need to be discussed, but it was never anything so terrible other than the fact that we realized we were smart enough to realize that it was like oil and vinegar, and there was just no pathway for a future, and
you're better because you made that choice.
right, exactly.
Instead of
we
forcing it.
were smart enough to realize that. I think I probably talk about it more than she probably has ever in her entire life, but we were smart enough to realize that we didn't hate each other, but we knew that if we continued the path that we were going, we were going to hate each other, and that is what would have made a major difference in how we raised our kids in a separated type of environment. One of the coolest things, and yet so foreign to so many people that have divorces or divided families, as that once my ex-wife met her next her new guy, who great guy. He's not someone that I ever would find myself becoming friends with, but we've become friendly.
that's
And listen, my kids, and at one point was a struggle for him to handle. My oldest, her behavior was very difficult, and the kids will say anything to get a hype out of the other parent or the other set of grandparents, and it took a lot of inner strength,
absolutely,
to not react, but to really know your kid. Know what your kid is capable of, and how far-fetched.
and have faith in them.
And well, you do, but
Yeah.
you also know. Sometimes, especially in this type of situation, I had to teach my kids that they couldn't put mom and dad against each other,
Right.
and
that happens though.
and they do, and
Does happen.
it's a natural thing for them, but they never got that from us because we supported each other, and we disagreed often. And then once we knew that Chloe knew how to read, that was it for the fights on texting. Because, we always shared the phones for the kids. They had the apps. They're not idiots. They go ahead and
They
look
go
at
to
text.
messaging.
And
Something pops up, they just hit.
Oh, yeah. So that was, then it became, we had these conversations on the phone without them around. They don't know the things that we've discussed in the past. And, but I definitely, when my changing in careers had happened, I became more available during the summers.
Yeah.
And this is where many people find it strange, is that, I didn't have to work during the summer. I was just a good old school bus driver, and there's no school.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you. It's not an easy thing, but it made me available during the summer.
Awesome.
And my ex-wife, she had a son with her now fiance, and I used to watch his daughter from a previous relationship, as well as
Killing me with a cup.
with their son.
You're killing me. It's a lot of noise.
Oh, sorry.
So
Back on the
how weird it. People looking in, and people that have gone through their experiences with ex-wives and estranged relationships, how they're like, isn't that kind of weird? Your fiance's ex-husband is watching your kid from a previous, but they've kind of come, they created a relationship, these kids, that is like a brother and sister relationship with, the sister relationship with his daughter.
Sure.
That's their sister.
Right, they grow up together.
They have grown up together, and why should I make it awkward and not instead facilitate a healthy environment and relationship?
That's what matters.
That's why I did it.
Yeah.
Because the kids didn't do anything.
It's not their fault.
The thing I like to preach, and it's important.
Here comes Rabbi Mark.
When you end a relationship, whatever the problem was that created you to get to the point of ending that relationship, that was the resolution. It's over. You have to move on. And it's not your children's fault.
No.
It's different if there was drugs or abuse.
Right.
But if it was just like, you cheated on me, I cheated on you, or, we just can't stand each other.
Which is not what happened.
That's not what happened.
Yeah.
That is not what happened at all.
Sometimes people just...
We just were not meant to be together.
Yeah.
But what kind of person would you be if you made that kid a pawn? Because you were bitter.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm sorry. That's evil.
It is.
Yeah,
it's wrong.
That's
it's
wrong
like,
to
like
do
you're
to your
you're a
child.
good dude.
Deplorable,
Like,
yeah.
Like, why I'm going to ostracize you? It's not your fault.
Right.
But I'm going to, yeah, you're going to favor your own kids, but why would you do that to a kid?
Yeah.
Like,
And I'll tell you.
people do that, though.
But you see it all the time.
Terrible
You see it all the
stuff.
time. I mean, and again, I'll go back, I coach, kids football for many years, and you see that a lot, and you see it a lot with parents that have really high expectations for their kids too. It's often those parents that have maybe sometimes not the best relationship with themselves first, and second with everybody around them.
Mm-hmm.
And they put a lot on their kids. In a lot of ways, I akin that to what you're talking about, is where parents have a toxic relationship with each other, and then they make it the kid's problem for that.
I'll tell you, there was
That's not right.
That's so weak.
one story that's
It's just terrible.
Even if your marriage is perfect like mine, and we never ever fight, and she loves me all the time, we don't let it affect generally the kids.
I don't know. I kind of think she's a saint because Aaron's a saint.
to deal with you, Mike.
100%, yeah, 100%. And that's again your catalyst was that ending of a relationship that I think that we all thought, after you got married and then after you guys had kids, you was gonna stay on that path.
I thought so.
We all thought it. I mean, we all, of course, wanted that to happen for you, but what you've done with that for the last, 13 years has been...
Yeah, well, 2012 was when it was finalized. I mean...
How long?
It's 2012.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
It's been a lifetime.
Yeah, a whole lifetime. And you've grown and you've fostered the...
Sorry, I'm doing math in my head. Like, I think we were friends in 2012. Like how what? Or
I
at
think
least
no.
we met.
Can't be.
It was definitely after.
Well, trip.
Maybe not too far.
Oh, not
before.
yeah, probably after that.
It might have
shortly
been like
after.
maybe a year or two after, but definitely not at that time.
Just trying to figure out how far we go back.
Oh,
Like a
So
while.
the kids, oh man, I don't know. I'd have to look at
yeah, but no, not 20. Yeah, probably
Anybody-
shortly after.
10 years.
10 years, something like that. So yeah, 2024 ish, somewhere around there, or
2015, 2014.
2014.
Yeah, man.
No,
But you know what it was? It was that trip to Mosey we took with the kids for a while, and I didn't know Trip and Leo were even friends, and then they were like joined at the hip this whole trip. They went everywhere. They were going. They didn't give a shit what anybody else
They
was
still
doing.
are.
Yeah, and they didn't care what anybody else was doing. They didn't care. It was they were like, oh, we want to go see this, and they didn't argue or
that
fight.
sounds like you and me.
And they were just like, and they'd only been in that school. That was their first year there, I think.
Man, it's
Somebody,
like
you got a fact
foggy.
checker over there?
I
What
don't
year?
know.
What year did we
No,
start there at that school? We're not naming names.
Leo started in first grade.
What year was that?
10 years ago, he was 6 years old.
Yeah.
So Leo, I see. I thought it was before that.
No, he went to a different school in kindergarten.
Put your microphone up.
Okay.
I did. Can you not hear me?
No,
There you go,
I
that's
can
way
hear you
better.
tapping on it, but
Yeah.
again, now we have Miranda, the producer here.
Yeah, first grade he started at Genesis.
Okay.
I thought it was pre-K.
And probably second grade is when they became like.
Join at the hip. That was the
Yeah.
year we went to Mosey with.
Trip was Leo's first friend.
Yeah, 100%.
Trip walked up to Leo and
Get in the mic.
Trip walked up to Leo and, hi, I'm Trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Trip does.
Yeah, that's him.
And made Leo feel welcome.
Yeah,
Because that was,
that's true.
I did not know that.
Now you know.
Good for him.
Now you
Good for
know.
Trey.
yeah, and they were
So,
best friends.
I say this all the
from then
time.
on.
Trip is Leo's mark.
Oh,
That's how
yeah,
he is.
100%.
I cannot go in public with him without being, and I have met tens of thousands of people. I can't go into public without somebody stopping this guy and saying hello. I shit you not. We were at Rural King during Christmas.
Yeah.
All the way up in Spring Hill in the middle of the fucking day. We went there for one thing. Got what we wanted, went to the back to look at the guns, looped back around, and I shit you not. Oh, hey, Mark, just thinking about you. How you doing? Yada, yada, yada. For 10 minutes, he has this conversation. I'm like, how do you fucking know these people?
Every time we go out,
Every time. I can't take him in public anywhere.
I know.
And that's
I never realized how many people I know, but I can't.
Trip.
yeah, that's going to be
every-
Trip.
Everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's I mean, you used to think he was destined for politics.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know, man. He's just like,
yeah, it's
Well,
just,
His heart may be too big for politics.
yeah, he's friends
Yeah.
with everybody. And that's,
yeah, but there's one thing in what like he is friends with everyone, but there's definitely
A line.
Leo.
oh, yeah, 100%.
Like it's Trip and Leo,
Yeah.
and Trip and Zach and Leo and Cash.
Yeah.
Like it's that foursome there, and I know one person from kindergarten that I still talk to, and that's Brandy Lavoie, Ashley's mom.
yeah.
But other than that, like I don't have any friends from like that era. I don't, and I think I look at the four French, the four of them.
Yeah. No, it's,
And I'm
they
like-
will never, they've made it past the point where they'll probably always be friends.
And that's amazing.
And that,
Sorry.
no,
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever like someone from your past, like you think about often, that you just haven't seen and
no.
jeez. Well, there's one guy that I've always thought about when you remember the Luke days.
Yes.
You remember the story about me almost getting arrested with the shopping cart bowling?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, our Canadian friend Tyler. I don't know if
You
you
ran into him the other day.
I ran into
I
him.
wouldn't even recognize him in public.
Yeah, I ran into him. I've always thought, hey, I always in the back of my mind, always wondered how he was doing. Again, I bump into people I know, but
Yeah.
randomly. But I just was like, it made my entire day, like just to be able to see this guy and see that he's doing good for himself. And
Yeah. That's why we're friends, because I don't care.
yeah, I mean,
Not that I don't care about you as a person. That's what I'm saying.
you don't have you don't have ill wishes, but
no,
you're
I just don't care
indifferent to
about
the
that kind of
fact
stuff.
that-
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
like I used to think, like, it seems like I missed out a lot because I kind of stopped caring. Like, I think about people and I'm like, man, I wonder how he's doing. And
That's what Facebook's for.
That's what I learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you find out people die. I'm like,
It's a bummer.
should have
Yeah.
probably, followed up before now.
Yeah, but I think if I need to. I have so I always say I have the bandwidth for what I have, and like Mark and I've always been friends through all of the stuff, through divorce and through relationships that I didn't agree with him being in for because I know him so well. I know when things are taking a toll on him in a way he doesn't realize, and I can't. There's a point where you go, man, I can't be part of your madness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's really difficult. But that's why we're friends. That's why we're so close. It's why we, we make this joke all the time. We'll be 95 in the retirement home whacking each other with canes or fucking
Oh, we're
with
totally
people.
gonna be like grumpy old man.
Yeah, for sure. And those things, you try not to take for granted. And this, if you're out there and you're listening and watching and hearing what we're saying, you get maybe two. You get maybe two really good friends ever that you will always be there for you, and they fall into a couple different categories. But if you get one that will answer your call anytime, that would show up wherever you needed them to, that would answer the call at 3 o'clock in the morning because something happened wrong, and that would be there if you weren't there. You don't. If you get one of those, you're really lucky. And I feel fortunate to have Mark, even though we don't agree about stuff all the time, or he's always been there for me in whatever we needed, whatever I needed.
Most definitely.
So, those are things that
We piss each other off all the time.
But I mean, that's what friends do. I mean, you're not gonna.
But I think that's our boys. I think that's always going to happen. Even when they move across country, or Trip maybe starts playing baseball professionally or something like that. Whatever, you never know.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's tall.
He's good.
He's good. Yeah. So you never know what's going to happen. You never what life's going to bring them, or what things are going to leave their mark on them. But I think they always will have each other, which is a really beautiful. It's a great thing.
And that's one thing is because I didn't really foster relationships.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to do better at now.
Yeah.
I've always told him hey man, don't be like me. Make sure you stay with friends.
Yeah.
You keep in touch with your friends.
Sure.
I have 3 or 4 friends from high school.
Yeah.
But that's I don't know, it's because I've done so much.
Well, and
I can only
again,
focus
man,
on
all everything you forever now, and you're getting, I think, now to the point where you can breathe, because for the last 25 years, you've been dad,
Pop G now,
and now Pop G, but already being 10.
How awesome!
The difficult,
it is pretty cool. I mean,
the most difficult times are coming up, but they're really close to being over too.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit how I feel, I think, with my kids all being three different ages, and some of the hard work has been done already with the boys, and the most difficult work is coming with our daughter, for damn sure. But we as parents, I think have changed. Not gonna deep dive on it, but when you're a parent and you have older kids, and then you wind up having a tragedy. We lost a child, and then that definitely changes you as a person as it is, and then you get to where you have kids after that. It's all different.
It is.
And you never know what those kids are going to throw at you. God, they test your patience.
mm-hmm.
But you have to go. For me, you think, man, we're lucky to be in this situation. You know what I mean? And I feel bad for Leo sometimes, because I think he got the worst end of a lot of stuff. But he's had friends to be there for him if he needed something, or he's had great. Uncle Mark has always been there for him, or he'll come. There's times where if Leo called Mark and said, I want to go out to the house and ride the 4-wheelers or whatever, he'd be like, hey, come on over. So. Yeah. Building those relationships has always been a challenge for me. It's me and Mark and our other friend. That's it. That's all I got. I don't have any other close relationships with anybody else besides my wife.
I had a revelation the other day. I had a really, really good conversation with a friend that we both are very close to. And it was a great conversation. It was a life conversation, just about what's going on in their lives, and in my life as well. And I got off the phone, and I just realized how much I learned from my father to facilitate relationships and how important relationships are. And some people are really good or are really content with just having their family, their children. I need more than just that. I am a people person, and I'm like my father in that ways. And I felt I had this. I had the absolute necessity in that moment that I'm not good with. I feel like I'm not good with my words when I'm having a conversation, but like I had to get that message of how I was feeling to my father, and I texted him everything that was on my mind. I mean, but it was to let him know how much he has shaped me, and I'm learning or realizing at this point in my life how the facilitating and
Dude, that's gratitude in action.
it was a real big moment for me the other day.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you
That's
about
awesome.
that before, but I'm
Really?
actually glad I'm telling you about this right now.
Well, yeah, because my dad died 17 years ago now, which is way too. He was older, obviously, but I think that's way too young to lose a parent. It's not, it's never easy. But I think that seeing you struggle with your dad hurt me.
Yeah.
You just shouldn't.
And-
You shouldn't fight. I know, and I love your dad, and I get it, but
We
I
are
hate-
strongly
I hate that you
passionate.
fight.
Yeah, and that was a part of that conversation.
Yeah.
A part of my message to my father. It was the understanding that I know that we're gonna disagree,
Yeah.
and I know that we're gonna have arguments still,
Yeah.
but it doesn't change the fact on how much of you I am and how much you are so
No, you guys are
important.
a lot alike.
You are my my everything. Like he's my guy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a big thing when I lose my father. I don't know what I will do.
Oh,
I think that's gonna be a big. I don't want to even start to
Yeah,
think about that.
oh God, you should have
Yeah.
seen him when he lost his grandfather. It
Well,
was
I mean,
That was my best friend.
it was awful.
I was close to my grandparents too. I know how it is.
It was awful.
I don't know about like being, having a
Losing
relationship
both of
with
them
your
in
father,
such a
though.
short period of time.
It was bad. Yeah, it was really
I think
bad.
that had a big factor on my that toxic relationship that I was in.
Oh, without a doubt in my mind.
And even still, just like my ex-wife, I don't have ill towards my to that person either.
Yeah.
In fact, I've actually learned to facilitate a new, distant friendship with that person, and it's great. It's not like I see that person often in my
You
life.
see my face?
I could see your face, but that's where you and I are different.
Ridiculous.
That's okay. I just don't have bad things to say about her.
Dude,
We just were again.
You might hate her.
no. It's not even. No, I don't even know
Oh.
her.
Oh.
I don't like what happened to him.
Oh.
But we won't.
I don't harbor any ill will towards that person. I don't like what it does to my best friend
Yeah.
because I don't give
It
a
was a
shit about
strange-
her.
It was a strange time in my life, And,
Yeah, and to be fair, that was. What year was that?
well, my grandparents died in 15, so I think I met her in 14.
So that
And-
I was, I think we were, for me anyway, I was in a spot where I was in a newer career and I was trying to deal with some of that stuff. And I think right around that time, we were going to have another baby and there was a lot going on. And to be fair, I couldn't be there for him the way he needed me to be there either. Just because I thought that bitch was crazy. She probably still is. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what her life is much like anymore.
It's probably a good thing. Just saying. So yeah, I mean, again, coming back to we're all on this fucking crazy path together, and the stories parallel each other in so many ways. The failures, the tragedies, the triumphs, all that'll change you as a person, and you just got to hope that living through it will help other people, because without each other, there's no hope whatsoever, because it is fucking, the world out there is nutty.
It's crazy, man.
There's so many people want to fight. There's so many that want to just be argumentative and disrupt people in general. And like, I'm not saying that there's a right or wrong for that. And we can dive as deep into this as we possibly need to. But the world is a complete cluster right now.
Uh-huh.
And regardless of how you feel things are going domestically, I have a very strong opinion that I think while it's difficult, we're heading the right direction. I think it's hurtful to some people, but I don't think anybody's trying to hurt anybody. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't think it's intentional, but
yeah, I think that while maybe from the outside looking in, it looks like we're, maybe beating our chest or whatever you might want to say, but I think that we have to get on some type of straight and narrow path to get ourselves out of the mess as we are as a whole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked last week about the Zelensky thing, only for him to come back the next day and write a letter, and then to have the president address it on national TV during the address to Congress, and then now Zelensky is out again.
I got a question though.
Go.
Why would the most powerful person in the world want to negotiate with the weakest person in that little
Well, that's kind of what
trio?
I said. I said the other day.
It has to benefit the
I made
us as well.
I made a
It
comment.
does. It does. So obviously, our president wants to stop World War III,
Which the UN doesn't seem to want to do.
No, absolutely not.
It's kind of a scary situation, though.
And this is all opinions. This is
Yeah.
I don't think any
I'm
of
not-
what we're about to say is a complete fact. It's just I think this is, for me, this is the answers. Go ahead, Steve. Sorry about
Oh, so no, I'm just saying, when wasn't it Putin and Trump that negotiated first for the ceasefire deal?
it. So I think so.
We may need a fact check on that, but I believe
Fact check. I don't give a shit. Fact check me. I don't care.
think it was U.S. and Russia that negotiated that started the negotiations.
You're talking about this time around.
This time around, yeah,
So-
with Trump and Putin.
100. I think Trump and Putin have been talking about that since
Do you
Trump got 51% of the vote. I think that's about when that started.
Yeah, like right around like late November.
Late November
maybe? Yeah.
into the holidays
Yeah.
and through that. Because I do think that he wanted to have a day one deal done, and I do think, fact check me, send me the articles. I'm gonna make people angry on TikTok again, like I did this
That's
week.
fine. Let's do it. That's cool.
But
rip the Band-Aid off.
having there's so much disinformation out there. It's not even like it's not fake news. It's just not correct. It's opinionated bullshit, and you can't even believe anything that you read or write or see anymore. And it's that old adage is, only believe 50% of what you hear and nothing of what you see or whatever it is. I don't fucking know.
I don't believe fucking shit of what
It doesn't. I don't hear or see anything. But
from the news anymore.
If you assume with the best of intentions, and I assume with the best of intentions, even in the first 3 years of Biden, that I assume with the best of intentions that their party and those people and him were really trying to do what they thought, in their opinion, from their point of view, was best for the country. Whether or not we all agree with it doesn't matter, because our job is to unite and be citizens of the republic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the republic, in turn, is charged with holding those people accountable. And that's what we did. As a nation, we said, well, you know what? We gave you an opportunity. We said that we're going to,
We're watching you.
we're watching. And if we don't like what you're doing, we're going to find somebody else to do it. And that is our middle child is doing a project that is on the Constitution right now. And he originally chose freedom of speech. You're not allowed to do the Second Amendment, but you're not allowed to talk about it.
All right.
But he chose freedom of speech in the First Amendment, and he chose a specific part of that, and then he wound up going into like freedom of religion and stuff like that. These things, if we didn't have them, if we didn't have the right to free speech, and we didn't have the right to protect that free speech, we would be a Ukraine, where their president cannot right now. He's since they're in a war, or he's declared a war. He's been a president for 5 years. Their constitution is based off the United States Constitution. It's very similar.
Very
Fact
I
check
did
me.
not know that.
fact check me, but I think what I read, and again, if my facts might be wrong because I read it on the internet, but they have a very similar structure to their electoral process that we do because it's been the most successful one on the planet. Back to your point, if your hope is for world peace, not just what's best for your country, like take the United States for instance, you dying? You gonna take a step back?
Be right back.
Mark's gonna take a beat.
You want to pause this or?
Nah,
Just keep going.
he's got it. He's a big boy.
All right.
Oh, whoa, big boy! Knock everything over while you're at it. He's trying to recover from having that 5-week cold that's been going around. So if you have two of the three superpowers, because there's only three, it's America, Russia, and China. If we don't go to Russia and make a deal to have a ceasefire, whether that's Ukraine giving up the rare earth materials to Russia, and then Russia succeeding from the areas which they've already invaded and successfully captured, or that's I happen to believe that what should happen, or what is going to happen, is that you're likely going to have a ceasefire, and Russia's only going to keep it if they have an open and free election in Ukraine. I don't think it's even about the countries or the land anymore. I highly believe that because Putin, who is who he is an egomaniac, and he just doesn't like Zelensky. And I think the feeling is very mutual because he talks about all these people and getting killed and how everybody's going to feel it one day. You're not. You're what the size of that country is like Texas. I don't know. Fact check me. It's not very big.
No, not really.
It's not very big
and
at
they
all.
already ceded Crimea like during Obama, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
they
mean,
lost
you
some of that,
have.
too.
I just think the naivety to think that Russia bad, which Russia not good, but Russia bad all the time, to where you wouldn't want to negotiate with the second superpower on the planet and kowtow to a very small country that will, if he doesn't get, Zelensky doesn't get removed from power now, his people will do it for him because he's forcing them, putting them on the conscripts to the front lines.
Yeah.
They're on the brink of not just a war, but a revolution within their own country.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody's got to go in. And I think the UN sees this as a total money grab.
Well, you speak of a revolution in their own country. I think we're in the middle of a revolution in our own country here.
100%.
And I think while it may be a good thing,
Yeah.
if we reach a World War III and we're in this revolution, we're going to have a lot of difficult times within. And how are we going to manage being involved in a World War III when our own people can't even? You mentioned how we unite under such.
We do.
But we're in a point where
I don't even think that would do it.
I don't think we would be united.
No, we won't.
I think we would.
We can't even agree on like the basics.
The sky is blue.
Yeah, like just being people.
Yeah.
Like
No, there are so
it's so polarizing right now. It kills me.
it's-
Like I can't even. There's people that I consider brothers. That like
it's the death of 1,000 cuts.
yeah. I'm like, dude.
Fucking
you guys know, I'm Jewish.
What?
So,
Oh, really?
Huh?
Oh, you didn't know?
What?
I
You
did not
didn't
that.
know?
Man,
Shocker.
dang it.
Mazel tov.
Look, I am. So,
God bless you.
By the way, hang on one second.
I-
Pause that. One of my favorite movies of all time. There is the best Jewish joke I've ever.
Are we not live now?
We're live.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The best joke I've ever seen, and it's in Spaceballs. Okay, and it's when Yogurt is reading the talisman on Lone Star's necklace, and they're inside of the Winnebago, and he picks it up and he's rubbing it and he's going, and he goes, "What is it?" He goes, "Is it this? Is it that?" He goes, "No, it's Jewish." Or something to that. I can't, and the director of that, Mel Brooks, is a comedy legend. His
Jewish himself.
very Jewish himself, and he just breathes, and it's so damn funny.
It is.
It is so funny that we can't make, you can't do that in a movie today.
No.
You couldn't put that in a film today.
Can you imagine another Mel Brooks classic, Blazing Saddles?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, come on. They would revolt.
But the whole movie is like, I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't, hot take, Spaceballs is one of the funniest films ever made.
I've seen Spaceballs, but I've never seen its entire Star Wars.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
I can't watch Star Wars.
Honestly,
if
you think about it in retrospect, the original 3 Star Wars, if they weren't cult classics immediately, they're really hard to watch. I love Star Wars. I think the first 3 are they changed the way that people make sci-fi films and like kind of what the scope of people would accept. But they're just westerns that are in space.
Yeah, the best thing I know that John.
I'm going to get so much heat for that, by the way. People are like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I know. And this guy's never seen Star Wars. And no, I can't. I fall asleep through it.
Yeah.
But you know what? John Williams is a genius, and the soundtrack is amazing.
You and me both.
Yeah.
I just can't. I'm like, but Spaceballs with Rick Moranis
Yeah.
and Mel Brooks.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut. Yeah. Spaceballs, the T-shirt.
John
Have
Candy.
you seen Spaceballs?
I don't. Here's my problem: is I don't.
Let's have a watch party.
I've watched many movies.
You would remember this one,
but I don't.
The whole
You need
thing.
to watch all of Mel Brooks movies.
We'll have to have a.
Yeah.
The Mel Brooks thon.
We'll have to have like a.
We should do it, and we'll come back.
A guy's weekend.
We'll do it, and we'll come back. We'll just do an old school movie review on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll be like, I don't remember.
Sorry to interrupt.
So yeah.
You are Jewish.
Bringing it back to being Jewish.
Yeah.
It's just. What's going on right now? There are a lot of reminiscent situations that are happening in the world today.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That
I mean, look what Elon did. No.
He's done every evil thing in the world. Which one are you talking about?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Growing up, I don't want to go into a political stance here.
We're already going down that road.
A little bit.
There are a lot of. I'm kind of doing the devil's advocate.
Okay.
The people that a lot of I know only a handful, and being Jewish and growing up in an area where there weren't many Jews, I do know of 2 people in my life that I ever met that actually was in the Holocaust, and but a lot of family members, a lot of members of my current temple, they actually are more conservative leaning.
Are you talking about like
in politics and whatnot?
Okay, so like,
but there's also there's their constant reminder of not forgetting how easy it was for someone that took over this country, and how in 40 something days, they changed the minds of an entire country, and look what we ended up having, which was the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And it wasn't only just Jewish people. It was gays, it was Christians, it was all different walks of life. But it's a scary situation when you see things that what may be interpreted as similar.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that that's what it is, but there is an aggressiveness that they're scared of, and it's not the Jewish people, but it's people that
the
are
marginalized people that are in America now.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I was one of them, and I'm not the biggest, hugest fan still, but it's been the previous 4 years. I watched the support of Israel didn't.
There you go.
It was scaring me on how much we weren't supporting them, and that the lack of support for Israel is the only reason why I went over to the other side to make a decision that many of my family members are not fond of, and nor are some of my friends, and that. I'd like to hope, especially now that I'm saying this, and if they do see this, and that we will continue to be friends because I respect your views and I respect how scared a lot of you are, but
Sure.
we have to remember one thing, and that's we have to judge on action,
Sure.
not on the words. Okay, we have someone that talks just like us, maybe a little more vulgar than us. If we want to go back to back in the days of the original 45 and now 47, but the behaviors that not many people didn't like, and it's different, and that's what scares.
You know what?
It's scaring
Yeah.
people.
We have boys, you have girls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I do not want my son to end up like 45 or 47. I don't want him to talk
Right.
like that. I don't want him to act like that. I don't want my daughters to marry someone like 45 or 47. But what I do want is someone with strength
Yes.
to lead this country.
Yes.
Yes.
And to go back to where we were, because, I miss the America I grew up in, where I grew up with
That's
Ronald
it.
Reagan as the president. And, Trump is no Reagan, but he's better than what we had before.
I think what you said about going through this revolution right now, where our identity as Americans is being questioned, there's no middle ground, it seems like, anymore whatsoever.
Have
and go ahead.
Go ahead. I apologize.
No, go ahead. No.
The other thing about have you thought in the fact that we all talk about racism as a racism towards a race. I don't know what the word would be, but we're Republicans, we're Democrats, and we're now it's
It's a bigotry.
It's not so much of a party
Right.
or an ideal. It's a people now.
Mm-hmm.
It's your identity.
And now we have a new type of racism of that they can't come together anymore. It doesn't matter.
I don't know what the word is you're looking for, but I agree with
It's
you.
almost like
because-
it's their people have assumed that identity,
well, but being a
and that's who
conservative,
they
you know,
are.
it's almost reminiscent of what's going on in the Middle East with the Palestinians and the Israelis,
Yeah.
or the Jewish people. That there has to be something that they finally come to,
Sure.
and that has to be for us too. Is that we
Yeah, but-
finally we have to?
I think they do, though. Don't they agree that the Gaza Strip should be rebuilt?
I'm still learning a lot about and being Jewish.
What do you think? I think that both the Palestinians and the Israelis agree that the Jordan Strip should be, first of all, a holy place, and second of all, rebuilt. And nobody wants to do it. And when Trump says, I'm going to go over there and do it, and, everybody's mad at him for it.
Well, I don't think
What do
that
I
he
think?
ha-
I don't know. I don't even know if that's what they can agree on. I think what needs to go back. I mean, they need to go back on the fundamentals of just being people.
Is that not what's also
That's
happening?
what I was
in-
just going to say.
Like just be human.
But,
you
but
know?
look at how many countries that's happening and that we know about. It's happening here. It's happening with the subsections of communities that we have within our country. You have the conservative people. You have the liberal people. You don't have very many moderates anymore whatsoever. You have the LGBT plus communities out there. That community has been, I don't know if the word is hijacked by the propaganda that is transgenderism, the transgenderism that is not being treated for some variety of illness. There are people that are transgendered. I understand that.
I do too.
But little boys and girls, that's transitioning them at an age before 18. I don't agree with whatsoever. But there's people out there that are pushing those messages. There are people that don't like you because your hair is red. Well, not
What hair?
Yeah,
Damn,
your beard
you
is
can't
red.
trust a ginger.
Yeah.
You can't.
Can't.
I mean, that's what I was.
But they've given us so many reasons. They, as in the machine, has given us so many reasons to dislike each other that when somebody comes in and says, I have a plan that I think is going to help us unite as a country without causing the next world war, every person that lives, breathes, and depends on the American economy should be on board with that. And if you don't like the fact that you have to align with a superpower for that, means that you're not listening.
Well,
Because you have a little tiny country that has the people are paying for this. It's not the politicians. It's not Putin. It's not Zelensky. It's not that. It's the people that pay for it, and they will. If something doesn't happen, there's gonna have to be a revolution. Same thing happened with us. Even when we were a free country, we declared our independence. For 20 years, the crown held everything we did over our head.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Tea.
wait, I have a thought.
You couldn't. There was parts of the country, even when we were the United States and we were colonies, still you couldn't pay with U.S. currency. They wouldn't take it.
Right.
It's crazy.
So
That's our revolution. I think Ukraine is there.
Yeah, I do too. And Zelensky, in my opinion, needs to go. He's a joke. I don't like the guy.
Do you know the reason he's still there is because the UN says yes.
Yeah,
The UN says yes.
He's killing
even
kids.
Well, so did their constitution. They're in a war, and as long as they maintain the war, he continues to
But
be
as the leader
president.
of a alleged free country next
Follow-
to Russia, what are you doing?
then here's the question: who benefits from that?
I don't know. You know what? I'm an isolationist.
It doesn't matter who benefits from. The answer is that people are losing
I
because
just
of
don't
it.
want my kids going to war.
No, absolutely.
If we go to war, you know it's not gonna be with guns, right?
No,
No,
Yeah.
it's gonna be nuclear. Well, it's two powers.
It'll.
we have this
it'll-
It's gonna
mutual.
be close.
It would be most likely about power and like actual infrastructures and stuff like that first.
First, yeah,
That'll be the first thing.
it'll be cybersecurity,
But-
all that kind of stuff.
Listen, I happen to think that we as America I think we have some technologies that other countries don't have.
I hope so.
I think we do. I think that if there were aliens or whatever you want to call them, we found them probably
You got 'em on speed dial?
first. No, I think we found them first. I think that we back engineered a lot of the technology we've had since the 50s.
We
Maybe
could
it's a
do real deep
conspiracy or
dive
not.
on aliens if you want.
No, I don't know if we have the time for that.
We can do it.
But
2 hours already.
okay, so
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I think that we have to hope that we'll come out okay with this, and I think that there's no sense of that anymore, and it's almost to where you're afraid to even give your opinion, and that's a really dangerous area, really, really dangerous. We just need, we all have friends that walk I do anyway. I have friends that walk, or people I know that walk every path of life there is, all of them. I don't dislike them for any reason other than maybe the person that they are. I just don't like you as a person. It has nothing to do with your belief systems or not beliefs or who you want to go to bed with or the things you choose to do with inside of your relationship with your spouse or things that you choose if you drink too much or if you whatever. If you're a person that doesn't have good moral values, that's a problem.
I mostly don't like people because they're assholes.
Why do you like me?
I don't know. I mean, it's like,
I mean,
you never treat me like it.
yeah.
Yeah, you're sometimes you get some sarcasm, but
Yeah.
most of the time, I just won't like you if you're, an asshole.
Most people like me. They either get me or they don't, and it's mostly because I'm pretty straightforward when it comes to everything.
I told you I work for All Children's Hospital, right? On
Yeah.
the Neo team, and you could edit this out if you want, but we had an RT on there. His name was Ryan, great dude, and he was gay, and he made a point, and I was through the third shift. He's like, telling me he's gay. I'm like, Ryan, I don't care what you put in your mouth.
Yeah.
And we were friends instantly after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to that point, I also think that
But
people have gotten to that point where that's like being gay or homosexual is the identity, and then that identity itself is muddied. When we were 20 years ago, it was pretty straightforward, and I don't even think it's to the point where I don't feel like I need to come to people to say I'm straight.
I really don't care what people do.
I don't care.
It's not that I don't care about you. It's just
I don't care what you do. I don't think you want to know what's going on in my.
Be a good, decent human
Yeah,
being.
be a good human being.
And
But there's so many identity wars going on within every community. The Jewish community, I know too, they're going through a bit of a generational kind of change where you have. I read an article the other day that said, the the 60-plus-year-old Jewish community has different sets of values than modern Jewish people, and
definitely.
it's a huge problem
I did not know
of
that.
younger people leaving the Jewish community because they don't feel like they identify with the culture of the community anymore, right?
I think a big part of the change has been that there's a lot of not interracial, but religion.
Right.
There's not a lot of Jewish people that are
Born and bred.
marrying within the same,
Which is what they say you should do.
Well, I mean, I didn't grow up that way.
Right.
My mother converted before
Right.
before they had gotten married, my parents. So, so I have half of my family is
Right.
of Christian faith, and then then I have my father's side of the family that which is the smaller side of the family that is Jewish. And I do relate more to the Jewish faith. I've never been raised in any other
Yeah.
culture. I'm not a I'm trying to think.
I don't know.
I'm not. It's not as common for many people my age to be as interested and involved in the Jewish community.
Right.
But that's, I think, something going on within all religions.
I think that's universal.
There's
yeah.
just a lack of there's just
involvement.
lack
Yeah,
of involvement.
100%. I think so.
And I think that for me, being in the community, the Jewish community, and being involved in the Jewish community doesn't mean I'm not involved with other aspects of it. This guy always tells me, he's like, you're going to be he's like Rabbi Mark.
That's what he does
He's
when
like,
he retires.
He's like, when you retire, that's what you're going to do. You're going to be a
No
rabbi.
question about it.
Hey,
Hey,
man.
I don't know what my future. I mean, it's not on the radar for me. But
You never know where
I certainly am.
where God's going to
This wasn't on the radar either.
Yeah,
this
you never know.
conversation,
Yeah.
Man.
But I got a lot to learn still if I wanted to do something like that. But
Well, I mean,
If you could reach one person, though,
the
but
you
then
know,
I don't know. Like,
well, this is, for me and for us, my family, we've never been religious whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been a part where I felt called or forced into anything. I've been to more Jewish churches than I've been to any other church in my life. More Jewish ceremonies.
correction.
Huh?
They're not churches.
Oh, synagogues, whatever.
temples.
But maybe in the last couple of months, I think as a family we felt more connected spiritually than before.
Are you gonna have your bar mitzvah, Michael?
Maybe, I don't know. It's not gonna.
I'll teach you.
It's not.
When you become a rabbi, you can convert him.
Yeah, yeah. But for us, that might be a path that
That's
we're
great.
beginning to walk, which we're not shut off to that. And I think there's a huge part. A lot of people, especially, it seems to be like in their late 30s, early 40s. That's when, if you haven't had it, that's when you seem to find it, because you're getting older. You start thinking of things. You look at maybe the things that have happened to your life, and you go, "Man, how did I get through that?" And there's no answer for it.
It's funny because like I have a lot of faith,
Yeah,
and it's not because of promise of heaven. It's because of what God's brought me through today,
yeah.
like to get me to here. So I don't know. I was just thinking about that. Like
That's, yeah, I get it.
I mean, I do believe in heaven, but
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of faith, probably more now because I have kids. Being Pop G.
Papa G.
I've been through a lot, and
Do you think that's like a natural transition, though?
no,
As we get older, we become a little bit more,
I think so.
like
Conscious about our ending?
Yeah. Like I've always struggled with the idea of there being nothing afterwards.
Yeah,
I do too. Really,
It's put me into panic attacks before.
I've thought about that, like laying in bed at night. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I don't know that much about the Jewish faith, but like,
Well, if you know your faith, you know half of mine.
yeah, true. But I know like there's the promise of heaven, and I believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
But man, sometimes at night, being in your 40s, you're like, what the hell,
Like,
man?
it's like, could you imagine? It's like
nothing.
I could be halfway. I could
Yeah.
be less than halfway.
Yeah,
It's,
I don't like it. I don't like thinking about it.
I know.
And you think about the enormity of the universe that we understand too. It's like, when does it begin? When does it end? At some point, I think you got to have. I think that's what faith is, right? Is like understanding that you don't understand.
Wisdom.
Yeah, you got to have it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You'll never know,
You'll
right?
never know. You just got to believe.
Faith.
And I've thought that a long time, but just never putting a word on it. It's like you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, or you don't know the people that are in your lives where they're going to bring you. Nothing's ever certainly. You can attest to this too. As we wrap it up, is that you never know what's going to happen. You never know whatever turn you're going to make could be your last day.
No,
It could start when you were 17 and your life could change immediately. It could start when you're in your 20s and you almost get, you could get shot in the back and you would have never saw it coming.
I had a question about that though.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I'm really big in mental. Did Hess offer you anything for like counseling or anything?
Nothing.
No shit, really?
Nothing.
That's terrible. Nothing.
I did. I never even had a follow up.
Wow.
Hey,
A huge
how are
corporation.
things? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's,
But you know what? I don't think that really comes from the top. I think it comes from the local operating area.
Well, that's
And I think that comes down to people, and it shows who they really are.
no matter where you are in life, leadership. Like that's
Yeah.
I
Right.
was just wondering, like
well, and that's a great point on both of your,
It's a human level.
yeah. So, and that's, I assume, like that's what's next for you, right? We're going to try to
Oh, we're going. Okay.
tell me if tomorrow never comes, if you were to stop tomorrow in the fire department, right? If you were just to go in and go, this old cowboy's done, right? What's next? What would you go and do?
I would definitely go into mentoring still. I would still continue doing. I would do what I'm doing now.
So are you maybe thinking about doing an audiobook, writing a book, doing your own series of podcasts? I mean, what do you
Podcasting would
think?
be something I would be interested in. Now that I'm here, more comfortable. I mean, I might run at your studio. I don't know. I love helping people. I have a servant's heart, really. Like I just want to.
What would your ideal situation be for that? Like, let's put it out there. Like, if this were to present to you, not leave. I'm not saying you have to leave the fire department, but if something came to you tomorrow and said, Steve, we really would love for you to step into this leadership role where we're mentoring, I don't know, young people on alternative futures for themselves. You have all this experience being a young person and having to strive and overcome. Would that be something that would be right up your alley?
Absolutely.
So you want to work with primarily late teens to early 20.
I really want to work with anybody that has a dream, that has a passion. Like one of my early mentors was a guy named Dexter Yeager.
Yeah.
And one of his quotes was, "Don't ever let anybody steal your dream." And in this part of my life right now, I realized it wasn't that anybody stole my dream; it's I gave it away.
Absolutely.
I gave it away willingly.
Yeah. For your family.
Yeah. Well, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like, I had to do what I had to do. But what I am passionate about is helping people, and I want to see them be successful. Whether it's being a better firefighter or a better captain or a better business leader or whatever, I want to do that.
Excellent.
My passion is helping people.
You want to be of service.
Yeah, I do. And I want to connect people to the right people
Yeah.
because I'm still, involved with the Jaeger organization
Yeah.
to get them plugged in and work on themselves. Like I'm always looking to be better.
So, do you plan on still being like involved in the firefighter community, or
Eventually, I'm going to transition away.
Okay.
It could be retirement. Hopefully, I'm going to retire from the fire department.
Yeah.
I don't know when that date is. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Like it could be, the Florida retirement system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be 5 years from now. It could be 10 years from now. It could, I don't know. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing because that is what excites me. Like that's what I get up. That's what
absolutely.
makes me
It's great that you have something else.
like that's what lights me up, man. Like talking about firefighting. Yeah, it's cool.
Let me ask you, what was the I don't think cool is the right word to use for it. Maybe it is.
It's okay.
What's the best, like, what is the fucking most amazing thing that you've seen, gone through, and like one thing, if you, man, this was, almost shit my pants and made it through, and it was fucking awesome. Do you have a story like that?
Yeah, it was
Let's get it.
Thanksgiving Eve 2010. I was a brand new employee.
Yeah.
And the first Dade City warehouse fire came in, and we've had 2 big ones there. And
Yeah.
this was the big one. It was a 3-day fire. Explosions, all like
Sounds like a daggone movie.
it would to me it was. I was
Walk
like,
me through how that worked out for you being a young firefighter.
I really I scared.
Mm-hmm.
Second shift on. I was only a paramedic at the time, but I was the first new company in on the rescue, so it was pretty unnerving. Like you're going in and
Almost like you're going in blind.
yeah, actually the smoke was banked down. Like
Oh,
the
okay.
trucks could barely drive. Like it was. We
It
parked
was
in a
like
really
you're going
bad,
into war.
Was that
yeah, we parked in a really bad area. There was
that
anhydrous ammonia lines running above us, which is
banked
pretty
down? Was that a
nasty shit.
firefighter term? Banked down? Is that,
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like banked down. Like the smoke was already. Okay, so we parked underneath an overhang, and it was already, the smoke was already coming down. Like it starts, high,
Yeah.
and then as it builds up, it goes lower.
Mm-hmm.
So it was already starting to bank down inside the overhang,
Okay.
and we actually had to pull the trucks out and reposition them because we were in a really bad area.
Wow.
I did a whole case study on it when I was doing my bachelor's degree. I was like, wow, we didn't lose anybody then.
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Holy shit. We
Reading
made
about
it.
all the stuff that was in that.
I can't
'cause it was
believe
like-
we all did not die.
It was a juice plant that that was converted into several, rentals all through the place.
Okay.
So there was different,
wiring and...
different. Yeah, they
But you're saying it wasn't up to code. Probably not.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
I was not at that pay grade to make the decision. I just did the case study.
That's crazy. And that was like
My
nothing's basically topped it. As far as
find
like
anything.
no, man, that's awesome.
But you know what? The most rewarding thing is like, I know that there's people that are celebrating holidays because my crew is there,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and that you can't beat that feeling.
Yeah. No, you were of service on that day for sure.
Yeah,
Man. Well, Steve, why don't you tell everybody, maybe you got some social media handles, if they wanted to reach out to you? Is there a good way to do that?
Not really right now.
Okay.
I'm still learning. So, Steve Gainey on Facebook.
We'll tag you in the post, obviously.
Yeah, tag me in the post.
Yeah. Cool. Mark, you have anything you want to add?
It was awesome getting to learn
This
more
is great.
about you.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I enjoyed this a lot. I'm glad to be the first guest. I hope really I'm the first of thousands for you guys.
I hope so too, buddy.
That is.
Yeah.
I think we got to have you back here.
I would love to
I
do a
think we
deep
have
dive
lot
on
of things.
aliens and
Well, maybe we'll just do a whole program
some Graham
on...
Hancock stuff.
Oh, God. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Mark will have to brush up on that. Or maybe just me and you do it, and Mark just stays home or something like that.
It's permanent Mark. Like
Good. Okay, well, man, I really...
it's Mark.
Listen, I do...
Permanent Mark.
I did enjoy our conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and talk to us and helping us through this whole crazy, big change that we're making. So, man, I can't tell you how much it means to me, and I know it means a lot to Mark too, to have you come in. And I did thoroughly enjoy our bullshittery of conversation.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have it douse, not what I'm about, have your cloud, it be raining now. I keep making sound, go another round, I'm legend bound, can't stop me now.
Bark.